It's the it ranges from I think about $30 is the cheapest, or even $20 or whatever it is, up to a bit more. So it's really not a lot of money. I don't think it's a lot of money. I donate several different things, about $20 each. So Mario says that bench is a monster bench. Yeetus reckons we're underestimating Italy a lot. I don't know. I mean, just in certain positions there might be that idea, but there's also, you still got a Springboks and Sheeran in Sia Khaleesi in the number 6 jersey. Franco Moss got 82 caps. Marco van Staden's a World Cup winner. Jean Klein is a World Cup winner. Yes, he's only got 7 caps, but he's got more than that internationally, and he's a World Cup winner. So you've got in the pack 4 World Cup winners, and we've been around there for the block. In the back line, Andre Pollard, double World Cup winner. Kirkley Orange, a World Cup winner. Caden Moody, World Cup winner. Damian Willems, a World Cup winner. So your new inverted commas players, Ethan Hooker at inside centre is a new selection. The rest of the back line, Edel van der Merwe playing his 5th cap. But the way he's got 5 tries already, by the way. So if he scores this weekend, he'll continue to score at more than a try a match. So from the backline point of view, I don't think there's any huge selections that are like, ooh, we're underestimating Italy. Ethan Hooker's the big one. Everything else is pretty straightforward. In the pack, Zachary Porthen, Bowen Fenner started against France. Zachary Porthen, the number three, that's probably, inverted commas, a bit of a gamble. And then we'll have to see how Ben Jason Dixon goes and Marco van Staden does at 8. But the lock combinations is pretty experienced. So I don't think it's, and I think if you look at the bench, it's a phenomenal bench. It's a brilliant bench. And all these players are playing really, really well. So somebody said there is a safety net with the bench in the case things go wrong. And I think there is to a certain degree, but that's exactly what we've got. So we've got a team that can hopefully get going. And if things go badly, you've got lots of experienced players like an Archie Snyman, like a Kwagga Smith, like a Grant Williams, like a Mani Liebach, who can come on and hopefully change the game. Big shout out to Egon, who sent a super chat saying maybe we rather add another front row to the bench. I'm not fully convinced Marco is the ideal 8 for our game plan. Maybe Ruiz fits better there. Yeah, so that's an interesting sort of way of doing it. We'd have to then look at either replacing Marco van Staden with Ruiz, in which case we'd need a hooker on the bench, or else in this regard you could have Jan Hendrik Wessels as like the Lou said, for example, have Evan Ruiz as the number 8. But you'd still then probably have to have either a hooker or another prop on the bench. So you have to have 3. You have to have a reserve front row in each position. So, but the rules don't say they all have to be on the bench, for example. But you have to have cover. So you have to have 2 players you can play at number 2 in your 23. You have to have 2 players who are designated number 1s, 2 players who are designated number 3s. Now, in theory, you can have players can cover multiple positions, but you have to have a reserve front row. You have to have. This is our front row, so we've got Venter, Grobbelaar, Porthen, and we have to have an alternative front row, 1, 2, 3, with players who are all designated to play in those positions. That doesn't mean that you can't have Volkolo playing Lucet, for example, and etc., but you have to have basically 6 front row, or players who are designated front rows that can cover 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, so you can have 2 different front rows. That's what you have to have on the bench. And that's where we've kind of manipulated that to a certain degree. Because we've got Marco van Staden in the number 8 jersey, but he'll cover number 2 if we need to. As somebody says, they reckon Grobbelaar will play the full game. Probably that's a good shot, and he very well could. He's definitely got the fitness, for example. But if he goes off, and if he gets injured, then Marco van Staden will swap back in there. H. Swart says, front row is a bit green, but we got backup. Creeve says, the starting pack only concern will be more and more defense, like the backline, and love the bench to save us just in case. Pete says, I don't like it. It's giving Italy close to no respect. I also don't like Marco van Staden at 8. I can't see how this is an actual option for the future. Has he ever played 8? Why risk Khaleesi before Ireland? This whole thing about not showing Italy respect, I don't understand where that really comes from, to be perfectly honest. We've literally got an average of 28 caps in the back line, 30 in the forwards, and 30 in the bench. That's your average amount of caps. So your average player walking onto the field has got at least 28 caps. How is that disrespecting Italy? Which of these players don't deserve to be in a Springbok side? Damian Willems, if you look at these players, for example, Ethan Hooker, cool. He's maybe a shock selection. He was part of the team that decimated the All Blacks. Bowen Fenter started the last week against France. you've got in the pack 50% of the pack. In fact, only 4 players in that 50% of the pack are World Cup winners, of which 2 of those are double World Cup winners. So I don't really get the disrespect chat in terms of we're not taking it seriously enough. And at the end of the day, if they go and beat us, then great. But if we go and beat them, for example, then that's even more point that's not disrespect. I think it's we're looking at different options. Market was starting at 8. Yeah, maybe not the future, for example, but let's see how he goes. We've looked at lots of different options at 8. And we've seen Sia at 8 this year. We've seen Kubas Visa at 8. So I think that the traditional 8 role in the box is changing, and that's why we're looking at to see, are there other players who can fill that role within our setup already? Maybe Evan Lewis would be a better option, for example, but right now Evan Lewis isn't part of the squad. And I think we're looking to see what is our makeup of our squad in terms of hybrid players that can cover different positions, so that we can try and maybe then have more players in a certain position, or have more options, or have different types of options. If you can then say, right, cool, well, if we've got Malcolm starting to cover 6-8-2, we could afford to maybe take an extra prop, or an extra center, or an extra fullback in our squad. Maybe an extra fly half option, an extra scrum half option. We took 4 to the last World Cup, and we said that in training, having those 4 scrum halves was massive, especially because they're so different. They can kind of emulate different types of players and be able to pair teams a lot better. So this is a similar kind of vibe. Egon's asking, maybe Andre at 8. Well, maybe, maybe that could be the next move. He's obviously played more on the flank at the moment, but maybe that is the next move. We may move Andre Estes into 8th man and see what he can do. That could potentially be an option. So Mario says the second half will be a killing zone as usual. I can't see the Boks losing this game. Carl says, I don't think you can compare Andre with Sasha and Mani with this forward pack. In my opinion, a fly-off needs good front football. I hope Visa would start, because at least you have that. Well, let's see. I mean, we can't speculate until we see what happens on Saturday. But I think there's enough in this forward pack to get going forward ball. I think that our lock pairing is world class. I think that our front row has got enough. I was happy with what I saw Zachary Portman up against in Japan. I think Bowen Fender's a solid player. So maybe with scrums, for example, that'll be the potential worry. But and maybe the worry now is, can they get front football? But that now comes to Marco Verstappen. He now needs to step up. Will he provide the same impact as Jasper Wiese? Maybe not. But let's go and see. And maybe that's literally why we've picked Andre Pollard, saying, well, we might not have as much go forward ball from the pack point of view, so we've picked a better game manager to be able to cope with that. And again, that's where combinations come in. If you're sitting there saying we've got a big forward pack, therefore there's going to be a lot of space to run. Now you want to have Sasha. Now you're saying, well, maybe the forward pack might struggle a bit more, so maybe we need someone who's a bit more experienced and a bit better at managing games to be able to cope with any potential issues we might have the pack. So again, it's not just now say, oh, well, Andre Pollard's been thrown to the dogs. Maybe he's been very deliberately selected to be able to manage that possible thing, given the fact that he is an 84 cap Springbok. We can't really be making excuses for a player who's played 84 times, who's got 815 test points. I mean, he's one of the highest point scorers in test match rugby history. And this is a big opportunity for him this weekend to show that he can make a big difference in a team like this. Honest says, everyone needs more game time before the next World Cup. Robert says, I like this team. Interesting ideas at 12 and 13. Not a fan of Mornay at 9. I'm a big fan of Mornay at 9. He's also got a man of the match this year. Cam Talks Rugby says, Italy is going with an identical team as last week. If I was Italy, I'd be pretty excited to face us. Not because it's a bad team at all, just because a lot of players haven't got recent form. But isn't that kind of the point? It's first of all, we've got Ireland next week. Let's call a spade a spade. We played France last week. One of the top 4 best sides in the world. We play Ireland next week. The number 2 side in the world, number 3 side in the world, or whatever the current rankings are. I think they're 3rd. Those are our 2 biggest games. Italy are not in the top 8 teams, and or maybe they might have been after last week. I actually haven't checked the world rankings this week. Maybe they've gone up to 8, but I'm pretty sure they're not. And let's check that right now before I lie to you. So Italy are 10th. So we're playing against the 10th ranked team in the world, and we are the number 1 side. There are more than 15 points, basically 15 ranking points between us. We've got the right to rotate, and this whole thing about disrespecting Italy. Well, if we go and beat them on Saturday, is that disrespect? You know, so Pete, I don't know what you're on about this no respect. Where does it say in the manual that if we play against a team, you know, we have to have, you know, certain things? When do these players play? When? So you're sitting there saying, you know, these players are green. When do they get the opportunity? Bowen Fenter, you said Bowen Fenter's green. He played against France last week. We've got a loose head injury. So Oxenchair isn't available. So he's playing Bowen Fenter, who's our, at this stage, second choice starting loose head. You know, so Zachary Porthen, well, when does he get to play? If not against the 10th ranked team, when do we get to play? And that's the thing. This is the opportunity. And again, Wales, it is another opportunity. So we talk about the fact that we want to have this building, you know, opportunity to try and build our team, for example. But now we also have to make sure we respect all these nations. So do we have to also respect Wales in a few weeks' time? We are the 12th ranked team in the world. You know, France down to 5th. We played our strongest, or we thought was our best team for France. We got Ireland next week, so you want to make sure that you don't risk Sasha. We're not risking Damien Delendi. We're not risking Kobus Reinach. We're not risking Peter Steph the Toy. We're not risking Jasper Wiese. We're not risking Evan Etzebeth. You know, so you know, half of us saying, well, what if we risk players? The other half saying, well, now we're disrespecting them. So you can't have both. Tommy says, Oaks, seriously, we should be quite chuffed about the depth we have. It is ridiculous that there are players that are not even in the squad left at home that could make this team any day. JD says, Rusty even says he wants to at least 2 caps per player in a season. That's what he's doing now. And, you know, Pete, I hope you're with us on Saturday. And if we lose, you can go and get big. But we've played Italy 3 times this year. We've beaten them twice, hammered them in the second game. It is a better Italian side. Yes, they beat Australia. Australia 7th. So when do we get to start acting like the number 1 team in the world? When does that actually get to start happening? You know, we've got 2 odd points on New Zealand. Yeah, if we lose, it'll be an absolute disaster. But again, I don't look at the side as a disrespecting Italian side. It's a very good 23. If you had to do a 1 through to 23 with Italy right now, would they have more than 12, 13 players in the squad? You know, and we could probably even look at doing it. We could almost do a combined team, inverted commas, and see would they have a would they have more than half the team? So, for example, you know, you look at the front row, and you probably say, oh, well, Italy will probably have a better front row. But I genuinely think Bowen Fenter would probably start for Italy, with the way that some of the Italian props have struggled so far this year. I genuinely think, I mean, just because he's only got 5 caps to his name doesn't mean he's a bad player, you know. And so it's such a tricky sort of situation. I mean, you talk about, well, Ethan Hooker and Menoncello, cool, that's an easy thing. But we don't know what Ethan Hooker is going to be like at inside centre, because he's never actually done that. So, I mean, we go 1 through to 15. So, Danilo Fischetti versus Bowen Fenter. I genuinely think that's a coin toss. I think that there's not a lot between them. Italy have got Giacomo Nicotera. Good player. Very good player. Probably edges Johan Krobler, but I don't think by much. You then got Marco Riccioni at tight head. 28 years old. Been around the park. He's up against Zachary Porthen. So he probably takes it there. You then look at the locks, you know, Nicola Canoni versus Jean Klein. I think it's a coin toss between them. I think on his day, Jean Klein's a better player. Big welcome to Tammy, who's just joined the Forever Sports Members Club. Welcome. Again, you get your little animation there if you do. If we look at Andrea Zamenon versus Franco Mostert, I'm taking Franco Mostert. Ross Vincent versus Sia Khaleesi, I'm taking Sia Khaleesi. You know, Manuel Zuliani versus Ben Jason Dixon. Zuliani, but probably not by much. Lorenzo Canoni versus Marco van Staden. Probably Lorenzo Canoni as a number 8. Career-wise, Marco van Staden's got an argument there. You know, you then got Stephen Varney up against Morne van den Berg. You'd probably take Varney. But Garbizzi versus Pollard. Pollard's got a better career. Montiawani versus Kirkley Arendse. I'll take Kirkley Arendse. Menoncello versus Ethan Hooker. You probably go Menoncello. And then Jean-Elisha Brex versus Moody. You'd probably go Brex. Louis Leinach versus Edel van der Merwe. I'll take Edel van der Merwe. I genuinely would. Kapayutso versus Damian Willemse, I would take Willemse again, but those are some of the two best players. Then let's go to the bench. Which are the players on the bench on the Italian side? So let's say that Italy are sitting at, I don't know, you're sitting that maybe 8 or 9 of those players are in the combined starting 15. Let's look at the bench. Because I don't think there's a single player in that bench that I would take ahead of what the Bokke got on the bench. Your only consideration is Federico Raza up against Rion Nokia or Arceus Neyman. Let's go up against Arceus Neyman. I'll take Arceus Neyman. So we've got personnel for personnel, a better bench. That's already 8 players out of the thing. So 8 players, and then I think in our combined side, you got 8 on our bench, Sia 9, Andre 10, Kurt Lawrence 11, Franco Mostert 12, Kurt Lawrence 3rd. That's actually 15. So happy days. So I still think that combined 23, we still have better players. Starting lineup maybe 50-50, but off the bench, bang. But big shout out to you, Tommy, for and saying what's 2 beers a month? 2 beers? Well, I suppose maybe 2 dumpies. We've gone to the days where you imagine when you get a draft for less. It's for less than a draft you can become a member. It's actually for less than half a draft, to be honest. So yeah, that's where we are. So let's have a look at my pick, shall we? Because I want to sort of see what it's all looking like and see what our the prediction that we went with. And let me know how you guys how many points did you guys get with my picks? What are you guys things looking like? I'm gonna have a look at the Fair Sports community and see how we did there. I'm gonna bring that up on the screen in just a second. Da 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 da. Right, so this is how you guys did. You guys are still in 4th place, the Fair Sports community, with 58 points. Guess you're still first, boys and girls, at the top there. Read it and weep. Read it and weep. 60, desperately hanging on. Desperately hanging on. As you can see there, the leader's DVP, the challenger to Harimo. I think I saw in the comments, Nick in 3rd place over there with 60 points. Then the FS community with 58 points. And Just Rock Up, it's a bit of a tough weekend, or week for you there. Drop down to 8th. But yeah, if you want to try and climb this ladder, you got to get involved into my picks. 48 players playing at the moment, and the GOAT, the absolute GOAT at the top. So, at the end of the day, it's, better people than lots of you have tried and failed to try and rein me in. Although I must admit, I am, it's getting close. It is getting a bit closer for comfort. But let's go see what we actually got right and what we got wrong based on this morning's predictions that we did. It was quite a fun little show, actually. So if we look at our Springboks team, this is how it gets scored over there. So we got 20 points in total to the FS community. We got 11 correct players, but only 9 correct positions. So we got Bone Fencer right. We got Jan Kobler right. We predicted Thomas Tatoe, but it was actually Zachary Porthen. We got Sean Klein right. We went with Ruan Nokia, but it was Franco Mostert. We went with Marco van Staden instead of Sia Khaleesi. We did get a point there from having Marco van Staden as starting, but in the wrong position. We then had Ben Jason Dixon, so 2 points there, and 0 points for the 8th man because we've been predicted. Van Staden's already got us 1 point over here for that. We didn't have Sia Khaleesi to start. We then predicted Morne van den Berg correct, as well as Andre Pollard. We predicted Ethan Hooker in the number 11 jersey, and it was Kurt Lawrence. However, we did get a point because Ethan Hooker did start over there. Ethan Hooker is at centre. He's already got that point from above. Kenny Moody we predicted correctly. Adolf van der Merwe we predicted correctly. And Damian Willemse predicted correctly. So 20 points from today's prediction. Not bad, I don't think. I think it was a very, very difficult prediction to make, in fairness. I think it was always going to be a very tough team because I don't think a lot of people... there weren't a lot of guaranteed picks. You actually did better than I did. I actually only got 16 points. Because I didn't pick I didn't pick Jan Kobler. That was my big mistake there. So you did better than me this week, which is why you caught up, but not overall, because overall I've been cooking. I've been absolutely cooking. So Krista says, it's not about individual players, it is about the collective team. It is a personal choice, but in all fairness, very little, with if any at all, fault is to be found with this team for the game at hand. Royden Skull says, Money gets a lot of credit, but he's a world-class player. One missed kick, then he's the worst flyer from South Africa. To be fair, I think everybody kind of has turned a corner about Martin Ebok, and I think that they've come around and everyone's accepted the fact that he is world-class and that he deserves his spot, and he's become just such a big weapon off the bench. And yeah, long may that continue. Long may that continue, because we've been a big part of, you know, we've obviously critiqued him over the years when he struggled, but this year he's been so good. And I think that hopefully we're going to see him really kick on and become a constant. Tahir says, he can't keep getting away with this. I'm reporting you to World Rugby's TP. Going to have to beat you off the field. Yeah, I'm going to have to start losing the ballroom. Because on the pitch, inverted commas, I'm winning. On the pitch, it's been carnage for you guys. But, you know, and I mean, I think next week will obviously be a fun one to do as well. You know, Bowen Fenter, for me, probably, you know, he needs to try and play well for his place. But obviously, we're probably seeing about 3 or 4 changes in the pack for next week. The back line will probably see 3 and 4 changes. I think it could be quite a similar bench. I think the bench next week could be quite similar to what we have here. Probably see Malcolm Marks come back and start down, Bjorn Kobler back down to the bench. Who we then gets dropped out, only time will tell. Maybe they go with Andre Esterhuizen to start. So I think next week will be interesting to try and sort of pick that as well. And lots of potential ways of going about it. But we're going to wrap up there, people. Thank you very much for joining me and for getting involved in my picks. You now need to go and get your score predictions in. So make sure you go on mypicks.app, lock in those score predictions. Go and check where you came in this week with how many players you managed to predict correctly. Get those score predictions in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early for 9:30 show to further pick apart the squad and kind of see exactly what the thinking might be and what to look forward to as part of this weekend. But yeah, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And we are live. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Forever Sports. But there's something different today. We are doing an evening show and lots to talk about with the Springbok team set to be announced tomorrow afternoon. About 1:45 is when we are expecting a team drop from Rassie Erasmus for the game against Italy. And yeah, very interested to sort of see the kind of team we're expecting him to name, because I think that we're obviously going to see a lot of rotation. But what sort of rotation? You know, are we going to see like literally a brand new 15 inverted commas? Are we going to see positional changes, you know, versus just personnel changes? So, for example, could we see Sasha move to full back versus Sasha dropping out? Could we see Damian Willemse moving to 12 versus Damian Willemse just not playing, for example? So that's going to be quite interesting to see sort of that selection. That's going to be tomorrow afternoon. But coming on the show today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the selection, a little bit kind of what our expectations are for this weekend, as well as for next weekend, to be perfectly honest. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about Rassie Erasmus losing in the boardroom and the continued frustration that I think the Springboks and SA Rugby are currently sort of feeling towards not only World Rugby or URC or Six Nations, for example, given the current situation we're seeing with players getting banned, players getting red carded, for example, you know, the feeling of double standards that a lot of people are talking about. And I put a poll in saying, is there a bias towards Springbok at the moment? And 85% of people, over 100 votes, have said yes, there is. And I'm going to sort of just try and pick apart that a little bit, because I think that we've got to be very careful about becoming too guilty of being sort of victims, complex. You know, you don't want to sit there thinking the entire time that the world's completely against us and, you know, everybody hates us, and we've kind of, you don't want to kind of get complex about that and kind of just create this narrative all the time that, you know, nobody loves us and everything we try and do, they're out to get us and the likes of that. But we also got to have a look at sort of what is the reality and is there sort of different treatment. I need to give them a little green light there going. So before we get to that, I want to show you guys to drop your hot takes. in the comments below. If you guys drop a hot take, it will appear in that coach's box, Rusty's coach's corner, and we're also trying to up to 300 members by the end of the year. So if you'd like to become a member, please do consider joining the members club. It is the pinned comment in the chat. Let me know your thoughts in the chat as well. Let's have a conversation about this. And if you feel there is a bias or the likes of that, why? Where's the bias coming from, for example? And, what are your thoughts? And how do we rectify this? Is it a bias towards the Springboks as a team? Is it a bias towards the way we play, for example? What and where do we think this stems from? And how do we sort of fix it, as opposed to the end of the day? Not that maybe we have the capacity to be able to fix things easily, because obviously we're not in a lot of these. But I also think I'm going to talk a little bit about what World Rugby need to do to be better about creating the situations that we're in. And I spoke a little about in the video yesterday, and I just spoke about the fact that we can't be sitting there having a panel to decide Luat Diaga's fate that has two Irish affiliated people when we are playing Ireland next week, because regardless of whether I'm not going to question their integrity, and I'm not saying that they went out there with the intention of trying to do that, for example. But at the end of the day, you open yourself up to that scrutiny by creating that scenario. And that's where I think there's just no need for it. You can completely remove that scenario by just choosing a better panel. And I think that's, for me, what we need to try and sort of what I'd like to see World Rugby try and sort of sort out. Please also do smash like on the video, by the way. Over 150 people watching, and let me know your questions as well. We'll do a bit of question and answer sessions. So if you have any questions, anything you want to discuss, put that in the comments. At the end of the day, I always say these are your shows. Really, I've obviously got the things I want to chat about, but you guys have also got the license to ask the questions, to guide the conversation, and sort of see exactly where we are. So let's do a bit of a drive. They go and like the video, and let's go and do some of the comments, and then we'll talk a little bit about this sort of idea Rassie Erasmus or the Springboks, for example, are feeling a bit aggrieved with the way they're being treated. Petron Amerva earlier saying, I once listened to an All Black from their golden era. He said their experience to World being against them. JD saying, maybe it's not World Rugby, but the refs themselves. If World Rugby does something against a ref, it might open a can of worms for the rest, but that's just my ignorant opinion. Craig Morgan's gone as far as to say, World Rugby hate SA, period. And welcome, JD's got a couple saying, hello, earlier, and he reckons there's a bias towards Rassie and he doesn't take their cuck. Albert says, let's be clear, Rassie is first in the queue saying there is bias against the Boks, and Rassie is milking it 100% in the Bok camp. Yeah, so basically what sparked this title and why we're talking about it this evening is that Rassie, was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago, around those Jan Hendrik Wessels basically said that they are not winning in the boardroom. They're saying that they're losing in the boardroom, and, just showing a bit of frustration with regards to the Jan Hendrik Wessels ban. And I think that sort of already prompted a bit of a narrative, really, that they kind of want to go out and prove people wrong, or rather just sort of try and say that regardless of what they get thrown at, in terms of the Jan Hendrik Wessels ban or even the Luat Diaga ban, regardless of what happens, that they can come sort of through that adversity. And the big tweet was, as I quote, it just got tougher. We now have to beat them on the field and in the boardrooms. Hammerman Tsek Lopkak. And I think that's quite an aggressive tweet, to be perfectly honest, or X post or whatever they're calling it these days. And you could see it was a big frustration that they felt that there is a sort of almost a vendetta out against South African players. And Jan Hendrik Wessels, a flashpoint for the Boks for this outgoing tour, that we were going to have to really rally ourselves, and that was definitely going to be part of the, they're out to get us. We need to show them, the European sides, for example, are getting prioritized, etc., etc. And we need to go. It's kind of us against the world, and it's a very powerful narrative to drive because it gets players up. You sit there saying, nobody wants you to succeed, and we have to sort of create this narrative the entire time, or sort of an underdog narrative, us against the world narrative. We need to band together as a country against the world, and we've used it so effectively in the last 5, 6, even decade, really, in terms of creating a level of performance that is unmatched to others. And a lot of it is about that. When it comes to elite sport, there's not massive differences between individual players, individual teams, for example, like Springboks versus France and Ireland. If you look at the player to player, even during Chasing the Sun, they spoke about the fact that Ireland are a big team. They've got big players and that they compete physically. So when you get to that absolute top level of elite sport, you've then got to talk about the fact that how do you find those inches? How do you find that small margin to get over the line? And that's where, I think the world-class coaches come into their own. It's that ability to get already world-class players to just find that extra inch. There's a famous speech, last about a game of inches, one half this and half a step to this, and you don't make it. And how do you find that extra level of performance? And I think at the moment, we're very much using during this November this idea that World Rugby don't want us to succeed, or the executives rather don't want us to succeed, and that's why they're looking to ban the Hendrik Vessels and Luat Jager, for example, getting a ban, and the fact that we look at Owen Farrell's bans previously, and you look at kind of he was banned especially before the World Cup, I think it was, and it just happened to end just for the World Cup. Whereas you look at Luat Jager and it just happens to finish as soon as we finished our international season. So he's actually at this stage not going to miss any Japan games, for example. And that's where the sort of frustration is, was that on one hand, you sometimes see other bans which always seem to almost conveniently end before a certain tour or tournament. Now we're seeing a ban which also suddenly sort of almost conveniently ends right after the Springboks finish their season, which means he can't take part. And I think that's where the frustration is. It's the double standards at the end of the day. That's where the problem comes. No one is going, if, for example, we look at Luat Jager's tackle and we look at an identical sort of incident over the weekend and they're both getting the exact same ban, then no one has issues. And I think similarly, with referees, for example, you've got some referees who are willing to make big decisions, some referees who aren't willing to make big decisions. And again, there's an inconsistency that starts to grow, and then you start to feel, that there's a pattern, that you sort of feel that when it comes to inconsistencies, why does it always feel like we're getting the short end of the stick, and why does it always feel that certain nations or certain players just don't seem to ever get treated in the same way? And that's where this kind of narrative can start to build and starts to gain weight, for example. And, the longer these these bans come in, where we feel there isn't consistency, the more the narrative starts to really develop. And I think the Hendrik Vessel one's probably more than the Luat Jager one is one of the big reasons that people are so upset. Because there's just no video evidence. And he's gotten a 13-week ban, now it's 12 weeks. And everybody's going, how are you getting to that decision? So Rassie this morning then tweeted, we're still losing in the boardroom. And he basically actually he said, we're not doing too great in the boardrooms currently. Feels like the creativity is moving off the field and becoming more important inside the boardroom. He then said, anyway, in this video, you can see Dwayne lengthening Mr. Alexander by 5 centimeters as possible replacement for Luat. So it's quite a comical tweet. If you see the video, literally just busy pulling Mark Alexander. But again, it's a direct go at the executives, saying that, on the pitch, and I think it's very, very tactical and obviously very intentional, because for years we were called boring. And we said that we played 10-man rugby, for example, and we didn't know how to play exciting rugby. We didn't know how to create tries, the likes of that. And, we weren't creative enough. Now we are playing arguably the best brand of rugby in the world. It's a bit cool, but I think we are. I think you look at the way we demolished Japan, the way we demolished Argentina in that first test, the way we demolished, the All Blacks, even some of the try we scored, against France. We're playing such a good combination and mixture and mix of big physical forward-oriented rugby with some phenomenal flair. So we have become a creative side. We're playing great rugby, and that's why I think that's very deliberate in terms of the creativity is moving off the field, because now we're doing it on the field. First we got told that we were winning wrong, and now that we're winning right, we've got this feeling that they're still trying to block us, but this time in the boardroom where we're not having as much success, we don't have as much representation, for example. And I think it's long been felt that we don't quite have the same level of authority or or weight from a World Rugby and Six Nation URC sort of situation that we deserve, given what we do for World Rugby, given the level that the Boks are, the fact that we're back-to-back world champions, but we feel that we don't have the weight that other nations do when it comes to global decisions. And that's what Rassie Erasmus is intimating. And it's a very, very worrying situation if that starts to become true, because at the end of the day, you know, South African audience, more than just the Springboks, but the brand, including the audience and the fans, is one of the biggest in the world. We've seen it with the URC. You get the South African audience, you get a massive, massive support base, and you've got to find a way of keeping that. And therefore, you got to bring us to the table, and you got to give us the respect that we deserve, and treat us, you know, in the same vein that you treat executives from Ireland, England, RFU, the All Blacks, and the likes of that. And the whole of the Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, tribalism needs to start moving away. It really, really does. But let's go to the comments, shall we, and see what everybody has to say. And Jonathan talking about the panel saying their integrity does not need to be questioned. It does need to be questioned 100%. But I think that's unproductive, because you can't just, you know, they weren't asked to be appointed, you know, the ones that were. They didn't ask to be on the panel, for example. They volunteered to be part of the process in terms of being available to go on these panels. And that's why I think it's so unfair on them, because they didn't ask to be in this situation. No one's volunteering and saying, I want to be in that panel. I want to be a part of this case. But you assign to them, and then we start, and then again, as you mentioned, now people are saying the integrity should be questioned, which I think is such a sicky situation, because you've got somebody who wants to be part of, ideally, you know, from a very idealistic point of view, be part of making the game safer and making the game fairer, and then they're put in a situation where that's going to be called into question. And I just think it's needless. There's absolutely no reason to be in that situation. Talia says, I want to lock in my team prediction on my picks, but a few players are out of the position I think they play. So yeah, so here, what you can do at the top there, you can just select different positions and the players come up, or you can actually go to in the search bar and search for players themselves. So yeah, they do get broken to their positions, but you can pick people outside of their positions. You just have to go a bit of a workaround in terms of going and selecting the different positions or searching the player itself. Ludwig says the panel should consist of a representative of each of the top 5 nations. Adrian Free, dropping some Rassie emojis. If you would like to drop those Rassie emojis, then make sure you become a part of the members club. Albert says Northern Hemisphere refs are more strict on the SA teams, and we always cop the harshest sanctions. Well, I mean, ironically, I suppose it was a Southern Hemisphere ref that gave the red card in Angus Gardner last week, although he was leaning towards the 20-minute red card and kind of got spoken into, which I don't like. I really don't like. I think the referee needs to have more, either needs to be able to refer to a bunker, because that's what the point is, or else he must remove the bunker and stuff like that. I don't like the fact that TMOs are now making what we thought were going to be bunker decisions, because again, now you're making a decision quickly, and the whole point is to say, right, we're going to do a yellow card, bunker check, send it to the bunker, and then they've got 5 minutes that they can dedicate, which is basically about 7-8 minutes by the time they stop pitches, that they are dedicating, watching every single angle, and then saying, this is my decision, because I've actually had the time, taken the time, with no crowd booing me, and no assistants adding their issues, and no captains in my ear. That's the whole point of the bunker, is to get somebody in a room where they've got administration sort of comes. But yeah, great. Some other comments over here. Arjun says, I just don't like the consistency of everything that happened in the boardroom in the last couple of weeks, even with the burn red card being scrapped with no ban, and many others, but SA players get banned. Well, I think my biggest frustration with the Tyburn ban is the big thing people were saying, and they're right in terms of what the law says, is because Lutiaga did not rap, his actions were always illegal. And this is what a lot of self-righteous content creators have also been saying, and which is fine. That's what the law says. I got completely taken apart by saying that I thought the Tyburn red card was a red card, because I said at the end of the day, it is a very strange situation, and it is very circumstantial. But at the end of the day, he is moving forward into a player doing this. So again, from letter of law, his actions were always illegal, and therefore there should not be mitigation. So the fact that Burton Barrett wasn't expecting the ball, the fact that the ball might even be forward, the fact that it was just, you know, a badly mistimed thing, from my understanding, should not make a difference, because he's got his arms tucked and he's running upright into a player, which, as far as I understand, I've read the laws and I've looked at them, is always illegal. And therefore there is no mitigation. And somebody said, oh, but the collision wasn't that big. I mean, it was still a collision. It's still head-on-head collision. And we've got gum guards now, but now do we have to sit there with a threshold and a bit of a ticker that goes, no, that's okay. No, that's a red card. Yeah, it's murky. And I think that's where the big frustration comes in, because it just feels that there is a difference in the way they're looking at that versus the way they're looking at Lourdes Diago's getting, 4 matches down to 3. And in my opinion, the Ty Burn thing was always illegal. I said it's unfortunate, and I didn't want to see a red card in that game. But I still felt that doing this to a player is always illegal and should be treated like that. But if you're going to find mitigation there, where's the mitigation you find with Lourdes Diago, who is so low? Thomas Ramos has got a massive drop in height. He's on his legs. There is also an arm-on-arm, for example, which maybe prevents the arm from wrapping more. I don't think he was going to be able to get into a position to properly wrap, get around him, for example. But there is, I think there was mitigation. And the mitigation they applied from a sanction point of view was simply that he was well behaved, that he cooperated well, and has a good record. It wasn't a case of they looked at a drop in height and the situation he was in, etc., etc. So that's where the confusing part comes in. Luke Goodison says, first the Pimpy, then Jan Hendrik Wessels, and now Lourdes. By the time we get to play Ireland, half our team will be banned. In fact, I'm surprised Jesse Creel wasn't red carded for rocking that stash. That's funny. Ahmed says, South Africa have world-class talent and the conveyor belt will never end. That's between us and the rest. Firefly says, why was Owen Farrell's tackle against Andre legal? It should have been a red card, and yet it didn't even get a penalty. And now you get Lourdes' red card, even though there was mitigation. Look, that tackle was it's still going to go down the issue. It's one of the biggest injustices, the fact that was never, ever punished. Dreadful decision. Pastor Elton Jordan says the laws around the rucks and tackling is just a mess personalized. The TMO is confused. But that's what I've been saying for years, is that I really do feel for the refs. I really do. I know a lot of people don't, and they don't have a lot of time for the refs. And obviously there's some better refs and worse refs, but they are. And I don't even like the phrase. People saying, oh, it's a necessary evil. But that's, again, it's the wrong attitude to have, because these are guys who want to be part of the game, that allow us to have the game. But I still continue to say the laws are so complicated and so unnecessarily over the top that we just don't see what's cooking. And I think that they'd also, that's where there's too much room for interpretation, because there's so many different bylaws, laws, and precedent, that I think that's where the inconsistencies comes, because it's too complicated. And that's on World Rugby. That's not on the officials. It's on World Rugby, because they need to find a much clearer way of officiating these things, because it's just too unclear. It's too much up for debate, for example, and that's where we get these confusions. But a big welcome to Mark Libatti, who has joined the Forever Legend to join the Forever Sports Members Club. Big thank you out that. We're trying to get 2 a day, so if anyone else would like to join him, big shout out to them. And Mario says, these countries think, how can an African country beat them in everything, and they call themselves first world countries. Gerard Mitchell says, South Africa are the best team in the world. No one can beat us. And it's saying, I just watched a podcast where Simon Ziba was the guest, and the way he speaks about Rassie holding his heart and fight the emotions is touching. Yeah, I think a lot of the Munster players speak about him in such high regard. It really gives you a bit of an insight as to how well regarded he is, and just what an amazing person Rassie Erasmus is. Let's forget the coaching part. Just what an amazing person he is. Pal77 says, we need to become more representative. Put Buckies in the boardroom. Imagine. Greg saying, as a Kiwi, the Boks are playing the best style. For me, the change is the strength of 1 to 10, and wings have now been matched by centers to join it together. Sunny Sky says, Albert, you said it. Owen Farrell did not even have a penalty against him after diving into a stadium with the shoulder, a match which England won but would have lost if the laws were applied. Christian says the same protocols and laws that apply to the alert also apply to the Dirk Burn red card. And PJ Labber says the whole Bok team is going to be suspended for bullying teams lesser than them. Well, let's see. Shall we? Hopefully, I think the big thing for us this week is to try and get through the game and make sure we don't lose any players. We need to try and make sure we finish with our 15 players on the park and hopefully have them throughout. And I actually asked Rassie Erasmus the question, and he was very chuffed that I asked the question. But I think it was before they got to the semi-final. Maybe I jinxed it, actually. Well, quarterfinal, I said that you guys hadn't had a card. I said the Springboks were the only team that did not receive a card in the group stage of the World Cup. And he said that wasn't by accident. He said, they've really, really worked on tackle height and collisions and their knowledge of the laws to ensure. And then it all fell apart because then we got yellow card after yellow card after yellow card in the playoffs. Sia got their yellow, Chesn got the yellow. Who got the yellow in other games? It'll come to me. But yeah, we got yellow card. We got cards in the playoffs, so that kind of way we made up for it. But and that's the problem, is we need to try and start. And the problem is also you become a target, because if you become known as a team who get lots of yellow cards and have a bad disciplinary record, then that kind of just continues. And you don't want to create that reputation, because then refs kind of go into these games saying, "Oh, these guys have got a bad reputation. I need to watch out," because they generally are inverted commas dirty. And as soon as you have that reputation, you can't shake it. So that's also something that we need to be quite conscious about with regards to, all the cards we've been getting, is to try and get away from that, to try and build the narrative that we are very much working to make sure. And that's also why we have Jaco Paper on the coaching staff, to be able to interpret the laws and the likes of that. And that's why it's quite interesting when Rassie Erasmus disagrees. And I mean, he said over the weekend, on Saturday, he said that he believes that there was a red card, but his thinking was that it should have been a 20-minute red card, and maybe they would have looked at like a one-match ban, for example. And then again, but a one-match ban would mean that he wouldn't play against, he would be able to play against Ireland. And, is there then foul play involved into having two Irish people on the panel, and now he's been banned for Ireland? And that's where it becomes very, very muddy. Arjon says, what we need is transparency. Publish sanction benchmarks and apply them evenly. Same action, same sanction. Well, what we're supposed to be having is the Jan Hendrik Wessels case was supposed, and they even said in an unprecedented thing that they're going to publish the Jan Hendrik hearing and all the submissions, for example, that were given. So I'm still waiting for that to become a thing, because people are talking about the fact that there was that they actually take it to court because of the way it was done, and that's why I think they got forced into then almost saying they're going to then have to publish the entire thing, but we actually haven't seen it. And when do we get to see the files, for example? I think you make a very good point. We want transparency. We want to know what is being said in these hearings. What are the remarks? What are the conversations that happen, rather than just three people go into a room and this is the decision they come to. And then we don't see the decision explained. We just see the process then, or the punishment or the sanctioning process. That's what we see. It was mid-range entry point, mitigation down to this. Therefore, these are the games you're going to miss. You're going to do tackle school. But we never get to see the fact that, well, what we decided is the fact that despite a drop of angle, if you look at the way he was coming in, he was always upright. He was leaning shoulder first. He was never in a position. We don't get to see that. That doesn't get published. And that's a problem, because that's the kind of information we want to see and need to see, so that we then don't question these decisions, because you've been transparent with the process. But when you just get a press release that says the committee decided that the red card, that the incident did meet a red card threshold, that's not an explanation. That's just a decision, and we just get no information on what's gone into making that decision, and that's where the frustrations come in. So that's where we are with the Rassie Erasmus situation. Now, people, we're going to be wrapping up the next 2 minutes, and I'm actually going to be redirecting you to a bit of sports therapy, which is a series I'm doing over on the CVP channel. So if you guys are interested in doing that, please go ahead and subscribe to the CVP channel. Got a lot of cool content coming there. We do highlights, for example, of all the games and stuff, and the reaction highlights and stuff like that. And then tomorrow morning, we're going to be doing predicting the team. So we're going to be able to go and predict 1 through to 15. So make sure you come and join me on that stream tomorrow morning and predict our 1 through to 15. And the team is set to be announced tomorrow afternoon at about 1:45. That is the plan for tomorrow. So we'll also be live then. Please make sure you go into mypicks.app to go and predict your team. A lot of people have. I actually haven't done mine yet. I'm a bit nervous and panicking a little bit about how to pick it, because there's so many different options. So I haven't done that yet. And I'm very interested to see what everybody else's team is going to look like, because this could be an opportunity for people to try and catch me up. But yeah, so we're going to wrap up there, people. Thank you very much for joining and a bit of an evening stream. Good to see a lot of people over here and on the chat. Please just smash the like on the way out. You're going to be redirected to my personal channel. I would love that's very loud. I'd love a subscribe or two, and going to do a lot of fun stuff over on that channel. So your support would mean a lot over there as well. But smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll chat to you guys all in the morning when we pick our team 1 through to 15. So many different potential decisions. Miley Bokke at 10, 100 Pollard at 10. What's our front row going to look like? Who's our lock combination going to be? Center combination. Could we see Damian Willemse and the likes? All of that will be discussed and more tomorrow morning. And then we'll obviously be live about 1:45 for the team announcement as we bring you all the latest information coming from the box. Keep well, keep safe.
Hi, Tony and Marco. Congratulations to you guys and the entire team on your performance against France on Saturday. Just a question to you, Tony. Considering the manner in which we beat France, especially playing with 14 men, some will perceive Italy to be an easier game. Of course, there are no easy games at this level. What would you say, or how do you ensure that the team is in the right mindset to deliver an assured performance against Italy as well?
Oh yeah, thanks. I think the France game was a massive game. It had been built up for a long time. It was a big week for us. There's a lot of media around France trying to get revenge and things like that. And us as a team, we just focused on our performance, doing everything we could to win that game in Paris. So now we've done that. The whole team today has moved on to Italy, and if you've watched Italy play Australia, you know that they're going to be a tough team, a tough challenge for us. They're passionate at home, the same as the French. So we've got to make sure we prepare as well as we can and make sure we tick every box like we did against France.
Stephen?
Thank you very much, Z. Tony, if you guys obviously look back on every performance, is there anything in the France game, strange as it sounds, that you felt that you could do even better against Italy?
Yeah, we'll keep 14 men on the field. Is what we always wanted. 15 men on the field, sorry, is what we always want to do. So just making sure we don't have any of those moments where we lose a player and we have to play with 14. So, but we've got to commend the team. That the amount of effort and the physicality that the boys played with was huge, and we always felt as though we had France under pressure.
Marino?
Hi, good morning, and first of all, congratulations for the big win against France. Considering that Italy is a different side from France, how will it change your approach from the tactical point of view to the match? Maybe Italy is not such a physical team.
Oh no, Italy's a physical side. They do play different to France. They pose different challenges with ball in hand. They're very much coached like an Argentinian team, and Argentina like to throw the ball around, so Italy are very similar. Their game has improved a hell of a lot over the last couple of years, and they're a dangerous side, so we've got to make sure that we understand their threats and prepare as well as we can for them.
Lita? Ethan? Okay, your mic's not working again, Ethan. Can you so?
Thank you very much, Zina. Good afternoon from this side. Good morning from that part of the world. Tony, just a short double two-prong question. What's the injury update looking like after that brutal battle in Paris? And then secondly, what will be the process regarding Lourdes' disciplinary and possible suspension?
Yeah, we've got a lot of sore bodies, as you can imagine. So recovery's massive for us yesterday and today. And we'll see how the guys train today, but hopefully we've got no injury concerns. With Lourdes, he's obviously got to go through a hearing later on. I mean, maybe tomorrow, I think it is. So we won't find out if he's available for selection until after that. So probably looking at Wednesday for him.
Lethan, you want to try again?
Still trying to figure out here, Z.
Oh, it's working.
Okay, good. Thank you. Hi, Tony. Hi, Marco. Hope you guys are well. Marco, dalk net vir jou asseblief die afgelope naweek se wedstryd. die intensiteit teen wat dit gespeel was en om te sien hoe die manne die game speel, is dit die soort ding wat jou ook elke keer net druk om ook te stoot vir 'n plek in 'n matchday squad?
Ja, dit was 'n great game in naweek en great intensiteit vir daai game. En ja, ek glo wat ons doen dit in die week en die voorbereiding in die week het daai gedruk deur die naweek. Maar ja, ons almal koop saam en is ons een span, so die ouens wat speel, die ouens wat nie speel nie, almal berei voor so bes as wat ons kan, probeer mekaar so goed voorberei, maar ja, nee, dit druk ons daai intensiteit is definitief 'n bate vir ons.
Steven?
Thanks, C. Marco, in die laaste wedstryd in Italië het julle ook met 14 man baie goed gevaar. Maar hoeveel van 'n verskillende durasie verwag julle van Italië op hulle tuisveld? Jy weet, want jy sien ook, jy weet dat Benetton in die URC vaar ook aansienlik beter as hulle tuis speel as 'n ander span. En in Italië wat die Wallabies ook die afgelope naweek geklop het.
Ja, nee, ek dink kyk, hulle is 'n span met baie passie. En hulle bring hulle ook hulle eie intensiteit. En ek dink by die huis gaan daai net nog meer wees. Ek dink met hulle skare agter hulle. Ja, soos ons sien dit met die URC spanne wat ook baie goed.
Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Sports and welcome to Match Day. It is the Boks taking on Italy in about 20 minutes time and hopefully going to be a very entertaining game. Looks like the weather has not played ball and looks like it's going to be quite wet, which maybe could be a bit of a leveler. The Springboks obviously rotating their side quite a bit, which Rasmus said is actually the rotation is more out of respect than anything else in terms of them not wanting to underestimate Italy, wanting to have a team that is fresh and ready to go. People, welcome to the stream. It's time to do our usual check-in. Please do let me know where you're watching from. Let me know who you're supporting and what your thoughts are of the game. But first of all, before we get our score predictions in, yeah, I want to get you guys going and you know who you guys are supporting and where you're watching from. You know, a bit of world bingo, really, in terms of trying to work out exactly who's coming from where and what the different continents we can tick off are. So welcome to the stream. Please do smash like on the video as well and subscribe to the channel if you're new. On the road to 100,000 subscribers and hopefully by the end of today we'll need less than 1,000 subscribers. That would be a big nice tickle for us. A big game of rugby coming up for us. We've got Boks versus Italy, followed by England versus New Zealand, Wales versus Japan, France versus Fiji tonight, and I'll be live with you for Ireland versus Australia, as well as the England versus the All Blacks game. So welcome to the coverage and get yourself going. We're going to look at the team in a very little bit, but first of all, I want to basically get our score prediction locked in here on my picks. And I'm going to give it to you guys. What we did last week is the first person to send a super chat with a predicted score will be the official Forever Sports locked-in score that we're going to be using for today. And last week was actually a very good one. I can't actually remember exactly who it was, but they absolutely nailed the prediction and got themselves quite up on the leaderboard, to be honest, which was quite lacquer. But yeah, let's do a bit of a check-in. Let's see where you're watching from before we have a look at the side itself. Then we've also got national anthems coming up, and then we will have kickoff. So, as I said, blockbuster day of rugby. And yeah, let me know where you're watching from, which players are you excited to watch? Vote in the poll, who you're supporting, and the works like that. But let's go have a look at the side. Whilst we have a look at the side, please do your check-in. Let me know where you're watching from. And then when I get back, we'll go through the official prediction, lock that in. And then after that, we'll move into the national anthems. Where after it'll be time for kickoff. But for now, let's have a look at the side that Rasmus has picked. He has rotated a lot. Still plenty of experience in the side. Some pretty big match winners. But let's have a look at exactly the side that Rasmus has picked. Right, so lots of changes to the team that Rassie Erasmus has selected, and very interesting to see how it goes. We'll obviously see a couple of new combinations, for example. Very big news is no third front row on the bench. Very much looking to try and permanently transition Marco Verstappen into that role. So that's going to be the big sort of tick-offs. And I think there's quite a lot of things they want to try and achieve with the team selection that they have picked today. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to sort of see how things go. And I'm really excited to see how players step up, and even players who have been going on for a while under a lot of pressure. You know, Franco Mossad, for example, is somebody who people were saying, you know, needs to start kind of stepping up, or, you know, is he somebody who's a bit older, potentially might need to moved on. Andre Pollard's now found himself almost as a third choice fly half. When has that ever really been the case for him? So he's got a big opportunity today to try and remind everybody what he's all about. Kane Moody continues to try and put a pressure on Jesse Creel, maybe try and put his hand up for that Ireland game next week. So there's a lot to play for, to be honest. And I think that if we see a good performance today, then we can really take a lot of confidence to Ireland next week, knowing that we can basically pick who we want, and everyone's kind of in form and kind of doing their part and playing really, really good rugby. So let's hope that people do pitch up and put in that kind of performance, and that we do see players rise to the occasion and not, crumble a little bit under, bad weather, for example, or not maybe having played with the person next to them for a while. Very interested to see how the front rows goes and the likes of that. Bowen Fenter, for example, was hooked early last week. Maybe he'll have something to try and prove. But let's get our score predictions in, people, because we've got National Anthem starting in about 5 minutes' time. So get your score predictions locked in. If we get a prediction on a super chat, we will lock that in as the official Forever Sports prediction on mypicks.app. And if you haven't already, go and get your prediction done, because that locks off at kickoff. So we've got to get that locked in very, very shortly. So I need someone to give me the prediction, the official prediction that will be the Forever Sports community prediction. Then after that, we'll be able to see what the kind of average prediction currently is and what everybody's been thinking about and kind of where everybody is with regards to the predictions for the match itself. Going to some of the comments, and Wayne was saying about Boks by 20 more. Wayne reckons by 57. Wayne then said 42 points to 17. Peter John Swart says he's in PE. Rena saying watching you from Jeffreys Bay. Roland watching you from Angola. His prediction 41 points to 7. Where else are we watching from here? Dale Pike says, up you Bokke, make us super proud. Bokke, I just want to see a good game. I want to see some nice tries. I want to see players stepping up. I want to see us answer a lot of questions, and I want to see a really, really, really cool game later when we see England versus New Zealand, because I think that's obviously going to potentially be the game of the weekend. And hopefully we're going to see two sides that kind of pitch up and give us a spectacle. I have picked the All Blacks to win, so let's see if England might have something to say about that. I might be able to cause that little bit of an upset. And I think a lot of that comes just pitching up, to be honest, and making sure they put the All Blacks under pressure. I think the All Blacks are there for the taking. You're playing at home. It should be a big opportunity for England. But with regards to this game, well, I think despite the changes, I think it's a game that the Boks have to win, and I don't really see us losing. Look, I might be completely wrong, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself or anything, but I do think that this is a game that we should be winning at the end of the day. I think that's kind of my big thing. Yes, Italy are a side that can't be underestimated. We saw them beat Australia last week. Australia obviously beating us, but regardless of that, we've got to start acting like the number one team in the world, which means that when we go into games like this, we respect Italy and we say that we know there's a threat there, but at the same time we've got to back ourselves. And I don't think it's arrogance. I think it's confidence. I think there's obviously a fine line, but I genuinely think it's more of a confidence thing to sit there saying we are the best side in the world. Let's play like the best side in the world. Let's be the best side in the world. So Jan says Durban. Saying Italy can surprise. Sam saying the line is only 18.5 at my sportsbook. I picked SA to beat that, of course. Glenn coming from Jeffreys Bay. Guy reckons by 13 Boks coming from Durban. And nobody overseas yet. Surely got a couple overseas people who haven't checked in. Go and let me know where you're watching from, if you're watching from overseas. And I still need someone to lock in the official prediction for the stream. So let's see if anybody's willing to put the proverbial cock on the block and put your name out there and add your prediction And let's see how ballsy you might get. So I think the next person that comes with a proper scoreline prediction will lock in as our official FS community. James Dolman, by the way, will be the referee today, assisted by Ben O'Keefe and Jeremy Rozier. And Tuo Tranini is the man in the TMO over there. And we're in Turin, and not a full stadium. Obviously playing where Juventus play their home games, so quite a historic football stadium. I know that Sia Khaleesi and Zondila Stick were speaking about it yesterday in their press conference. They're quite excited about it because they've obviously grown up watching, both big football fans, so I've watched a lot of football every year. Now they get to play rugby at it. It's the first time we're actually ever playing at the stadium as well. Here we go. Here's our internationals. Go Cruise and Travel with Ian Jackie watching from the UK. Fanu says, Box by 22 watching from Montreal in Canada. Asnat and Klabakanya just had a little shower there in the change room. Yeah, got to be careful he doesn't drop that towel. But we've got a score prediction, and Duenjo records Box 35, Italy 12. So let's lock that in as the official FS community prediction, shall we? So Italy, sorry, actually, whoa. That could have gone very, very badly. We're going to have to bring that all the way back down to 12 here. It's Box, Italy 12, Box 35 was what the prediction was. Right, so we're going to lock that in as the official prediction. And Brendan watching from Ireland. Mike says Springboks 48, Italy 18. Anthony watching from Japan. And Scholar says USA looking to see if this compares to NFL. Very different. Probably a bit more... slightly more structured in terms of not having to run different people on and off the entire time. So maybe a bit more fluent is probably the ease, but also far more stringent with the way that the collisions happen and the likes of that. So in terms of the prediction so far on my picks, the average score at the moment is 43 points to 13, 98.4% win prediction for the Springboks there on my picks.app. Make sure you go and get your predictions locked in over there, and make sure you go visit that on the post-match player rating show as well. Right, people. The players are out, and we're about to move into the national anthem. So while we do, please make sure you lock in your score prediction in the comments below. Let me know again still where you're watching from. And let me know what you think. Again, what are your players to watch, for example? What are the things you want to sort of tick off when you at the end of the day we're kind of doing a scorecard? What are the big things that you want to be able to say once we get to the end there? Life is good, and we're quite happy with what actually happened across the match, because I think that's always a good way of looking at it, in terms of what are we trying to achieve with the team selection, what are we trying to achieve with this result, for example, how important is performance versus the result. At this stage, we're looking to try and do a perfect November tour, so you want to go 3 from 3 so far. But before we go into the national anthems, a couple of last minute predictions. Jan says 52 South Africa, 10 Italy. Alan reckons 21 Italy, Box 28, watching from Spain. So he's going with Box over 100. Maurice says enjoy Joburg. Joburg right now is dreadful weather. It is raining outside. It is scheduled to rain the entire evening, and tomorrow I'm not scheduled to play too much cricket this weekend, which is supposedly the plan. Yeah, and go and vote in the poll as well. And let's see that the first time we get a Springbok try, we're going to do a bit of a subscribe train, try and get ourselves up to that 99,000 subscriber mark, which should be a lot of fun. Also, please do consider becoming a member. It is the pinned comment. But yeah, let's go into the national anthems, and when we get back, it will be kickoff. Right, anthem's underway. That is your team, and we do have kickoff in Turin as Andre Pollard gets us underway to the left-hand side. Big match coming. Get your score predictions in, and it's a solid start from Italy. Well retrieved. Boks obviously playing in the white kit today. Italy in their traditional blue, the reverse of what we saw in the mid-year, and immediately brought up to the boot goes Stephen Varney. Linek will give chase. David Williams underneath it. Williamson steps away from one, doing very well. He steps away from another. Still goes David Williamson, bumps into the very big Ignacio. Sorry, that it's actually Ross Vincent who completes the tackle. Now, but it's space out wide as Ethan Hooker takes his first carry in at inside centre. First opportunity for him in the centres today. Big opportunity for him to try and stake a claim in that number 12 jersey. Now, Bone Fenter on the angle. Nice first carry. Be met well, but good leg drive. And eventually been told to leave it is the fresh fares back in the boot. And Pollard goes to the boot, puts it downfield. And Kane Moody will give chase. It's a little bit deep, but gets there very well as Kane Moody and wins it out the air. Ball available for Morne van den Berg, looking for option to the left, goes to the right. Jan Kobler met well in the tackle by Nicola Canone. And on the ball there is Giuliani, who wins the penalty. Not good enough at the breakdown there, the box. It's a nice carry from Jan Kobler. Good tackle and then Giuliani just winning that ball. But very, very good come in the air was Kane Moody earlier to win that back. So an early penalty, but frustrating that because it was nice momentum and we start well. You want to start building on that. So Pollard busy will kick to touch. Will find touch as well. Italy have won just one game, by the way, against the Springboks in their history. The Boks have very much dominated this fixture, but if you're ever going to lose to Italy, for me, it's always going to be at home. They are tearing up at the national anthem. So when you start to see that, especially when you kind of see Argentina, you suddenly start to worry a little bit of maybe they're thinking that this is potentially their day. But let's hope not. Let's hope we get off to a good start. But first, there's a good line that from Italy. Get their set piece going nice and early. Go straight to the boot as Pollard got busy. And pretty much by himself as our own. And eventually David Williamson comes in, but gets past David Williamson. Ball goes loose and towards the side. Edwin van der Merwe, not touched by any of the Springbok players. So it will be a Springbok line out. But messy in the air there. Good set piece early on from Italy, and that's a nice moment for them just to try and sort of settle into the game. Now we need to have our own good set piece with Jan Krobler's first line of the day. And it goes to Jean Klein. Jean Klein pops it up. And on the front foot goes Sia Khaleesi in the first receiver there. Morne van den Berg at the base of the ruck. Leads to the boot. Gives chase as Edwin van der Merwe. Gets up there nice and takes it very well as Edwin van der Merwe. Onto the 10-meter line. Quick ball here from Morne van den Berg to the left-hand side. Puts his head down, goes Ben Jason Dixon. His first start. In fact, his first appearance in the Bokke jersey this year. Penalty advantage from Morne van den Berg to the left-hand side. Jan Kobler, slightly lateral. Ball available for Morne van den Berg. Up quickly. Roger Pollard, a little chip over the top and a bit of space. A little techers there. We are in a football stadium and Morne van den Berg cleans up quite nicely. He puts the grabber back inside. And no advantage as Kapayutso is trying to make a break. The referee says, let's go back for the penalty on the halfway line. And a big welcome to two new members in Wine Petzer and David Abrahams who have joined the Forever Sports Members Club. That's Gonzalo Calcede. He'll know a lot about the Boks, having obviously had that mid-year tour. And the Boks on just behind the halfway line. Andre Pollard will kick to the corner. Try and get ourselves into the 22. Not quite, halfway between, in fact, almost about 10-meter line. Not his best kick, Andre Pollard. We progressed about 10, 15 meters. Franco Mostert will be the man calling the lineouts today. And it does go to Franco Mostert eventually. Pops it down and Morne van den Berg. Not the best pass to Andre Pollard. Goes to the boot. That's an awful kick, though, from him. But it's swirling a little bit. They've allowed it to bounce. And it's never going to go all the way. So it'll be a scrum all the way where he kicked it. Not a good kick, that, from Andre Pollard. And it wasn't the best pass, but... Yeah, I mean, that's gone too far. Stephen Varney was retreating, but could easily let it bounce, and it's bounced out. So go all the way back towards basically the halfway line, and it'll be a scrum for Italy. First scrum of the day, though, is the one thing. So that should be quite exciting to be able to see how the scrum holds up. And this is a big acid test for the likes of Zachary Porth and Bowen Fenter. How well can they dominate this Italian front row, which of the likes of Daniele Fascetti, Marco Riccioni, far more experienced front row for Italy than what we've got. But that's kind of what we want to do. We want to sit there and see how they can cope and put them under pressure, put them into the situation, and see if they can best players who have played a lot more rugby for them. I mean, you got Riccioni's got I think about 30 odd caps, for example. Not a bad scrum, though. Boks definitely were competing. Now breaks. Long pass out wide. Montiani's found a half break. Ethan Hooker's coming across. Ethan Hooker just trying to guide him. All in behind. And Kapayotsu's got the pace. Going to get across Edel van der Merwe very, very well. Needs to try stay in. Does not stay in. I tell you, that is a very big warning to the Boks about the pace that the Italians have. Edel van der Merwe does very well to get across and shepherd that ball. Eventually gets bailed into touch. But I tell you what, it was properly on there. They created the line gap. And Montiani's got plenty of pace. Breaks just bullets it out to, and Caden Moody's come up quickly, and he's in no man's land, really. Edel van der Merwe does well in terms of getting across, because Kapayotsu was ahead of Ethan Hooker and Morley van den Berg, dives on the ball, and then Lanak there. But this is over here. Caden Moody makes the wrong read, and they burst through the fence. So, yeah, it's early advantage Italy from that point of view. Going to have to be very, very cautious about that. Are we looking at potential obstruction? Is that what we're having a look here? Having a chat to Ignacio Brex and Sia Khaleesi. I think it's probably more about... It's definitely not the tackle on Andre Pollard. They're looking at potentially Menoncello running a line up until Ethan Hooker. This actually might be reversed, in fairness. So Menoncello's run into Ethan Hooker in that. Has that created the gap? I'm not convinced it actually has, to be honest. Yeah, they have awarded the penalty, but it's all the way back in side zone 22. I'm a bit confused about that. So there's a penalty for the Boks, but it's not where the obstruction was. It's where they ended up here. So unless it was something on the ground, or was the... I'm a bit confused to what's gone on there, to be honest. Good line at that, as Jean Klein goes up. One in front of him goes flat to Sia Khaleesi, puts his head down. Big tackle coming in from Zuliani. Lost a bit of momentum. Ball available for Morne van der Berg. Just taking his time. Ball over the top. Kirby Arndt will give chase. And it comes back into the hands of Jean Klein. And I think there is a knock-on there. Frustration there from Jean Klein. To be fair, it wasn't really his fault. I think he was just kind of burst through the hands. So Kirby Arndt went up. Blind wanted to just try and knock it back. And I think it actually comes with potentially... No, it comes off of into the unexpected hands of Jean Klein. Can't hold on to it. Mario Seconds reckons the Springboks win 34 points to 13. We're going to pull up the poll, by the way. And 96% of the votes, 1,273 votes. They're all supporting the Boks. So the next poll is going to be who will score first? SA or Italy? Lock in those predictions, people. Sia Khaleesi down receiving a bit of treatment. He's looks all right though. He's nodding his head, and we have a bit of a break and play before we have the scrum. Wasn't the worst first scrum there from the Boks though. I thought like Bowen Fenter was making some inroads. Italy did well to use it, but they looked very dangerous with the back of it. So that was an early warning shot, I reckon. Caden Moody needs to be careful with that read when he shoots up. Got to make sure he gets the timing right. But just over 8 minutes played so far, still scoreless in Turin. Looking at this carry over here, big hit coming from, I think it was Zuliani as well as the tight head, Riccioni. I think he's got it right. I tell you what, it's very, very close to being potential shoulder-to-head contact. I think in the end, I think Riccioni's gotten the timing brilliantly. So a bit of a knock there. Sia Khaleesi's back up though, gets the thumbs up. And it'll be good to pack down at the scrum. Right, Stephen Varney with ball in hand. And it's a... John K says, why play the Springboks Z team? This team should be playing against Lesotho, not Italy. You can be anything in your life, John, and you chose to be a clown. Imagine. Not to mention the fact that there are, I think, 4 or 5 double World Cup winners in the starting lineup. Double, by the way, not even single. So that doesn't even include the likes of a Caden Moody, who won a World Cup, Sean Claren, who's won a World Cup. And he says, Rusty picked a small pack. It's showing. I mean, at least he just got hammered. He kind of gets picked in the big pack as well. So, in the early days here, people, we only had 9 minutes. And probably got busy, sees a bit of space on the left-hand side. David Williamson gets there well and does mark it as well. Back if we hadn't been to Slough, it'd be interesting to see if he would have liked to have taken a scrum there. Great to see Malaba got busy packing, starting the number 10 jersey. He's such a fun player to watch. And when you play against Italy, you want to play against the best Italian side. So this is a much better side than what we had to face in the mid-year series. There was no Capaiuzzo, there was no Monte Ioani, there was no Paolo Garbizzi. Right, line-up time for Italy on the 10-meter line. Inside block territory. Garbizzi goes short, and big carry there coming from, looks like Zuliani getting involved in the midfield. Flying to the left-hand side. Nice big carry coming from Ross Vincent. Good momentum this from Italy. Around the corner, here comes Garbizzi. Inside ball. Miranchillo, good tackle coming from Zach Porthen. Chipping behind from no-show bricks. A lot of box breaks getting back. Monte Ioani's there. I think he left it behind. It is a knock-on, so it'll be a scrum full of Springboks. But I'll tell you what, Italy on attack here are looking very, very dangerous. Running some nice lines, a couple of dummy lines, looking very well organized, I think is probably the best way to describe it. This is Stephen looks like Yeah, no, listen, so I got dared by the mates to go with the handlebars for the stream. I don't anticipate them lasting till Monday. It's supposed to be more of a cricket laugh, but yeah, we've gone with them for the day. And I did say to him, I said, if we got enough super chats, I'd keep it for another week. But I'd be very surprised if people back the shout. We're having a review here, so looking at team of potential foul play. It's a bit worrying when we're the ones that were defending. Theodore says, Theo watching from Bristol, UK. Prediction 52-18 to the box. Will be too strong for them come second half. I think that's the big thing. You know, it's kind of keep them at bay and then let that bomb squad potentially... What are we looking at here? Looking at the tackle on Graham Vince or Monte Ioani. There's absolutely nothing in here. This is the tackle at Ethan Hooker. Oh, please, it's barely like... Oh, and even the tackle from Franco Mostert. Now, come on. Now we're searching for things here, people. We've just looked at every single possible tackle to try and see if we can find some sort of foul play. I'm not quite sure what we're looking at here. This is really getting out of hand, how we have to now go and scrutinize absolutely every possible incident across the entire thing and just find reasons to try and award a tackle. I mean, it's to the chest there. Maybe rides up, but I mean, it's not much in that from Franco Mostert. It really isn't. He's nice and low. That's just a good tackle. His arm's there to wrap. What do we say, refs? Trying to hear what the referee's got to say. Whether it reaches the permanent red card threshold. Are you actually kidding me? You actually can't script this. As soon as you wear number 5, you're apparently getting a red card. This is becoming slightly ridiculous. It really is. And also, can I just point out that I've only seen 2 permanent red cards this year. Both have been South African. The fact, if this is a permanent red card, I will actually lose it. I mean, don't talk about always illegal action, because they literally said in the review of Lua Diago that that actually wasn't in what they were looking at. This is a joke. This is honestly a joke. It really is a joke. We might as well just walk on the field with 14 men at this stage. Ty Byrne gets his red card rescinded. We've getting our second straight red card. You can see that right arm is coming around, by the way. It is coming around. So that Holland never attempts to wrap is not right, because his arm's there. He's not doing this. I give up. I give up. This has become so boring. God, busy kick misses it. So, I mean, do we just donate points to you at this stage? This is so much. This is so good for growing the game. This is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We have got such a fun sport to watch at the moment. It's literally how many players can we send off and still win at the moment. That's kind of what the Boks are doing. So over it. I'm so over it. Cannot wait to see the permanent red card in the other matches so far this year. Right, here comes Juan Nokia, who's going to be on 4. Is it going to be Sia Khaleesi again, or Ben Jason Dixon is going to be sacrificed this time? 13 minutes, and Ben Jason, we have to put a liner caller. Rusty is going to be absolutely fuming. Get your Twitter out, boys. Get some data. Buy some data, because Rusty's going to be on X a lot later. And poor Ben Jason Dixon finally gets his opportunity and gets subbed. Now we don't have Andre Estesen. I mean, this year we didn't put Andre Estesen on, to be honest. But I suppose you got to put Ruan Nokia on from a lineup point of view. But I don't think we'll thing. Caleb, did you just say didn't attempt to wrap and no attempt to wrap and didn't bend? But Franco Mostert is 2 meters tall. Pollock Busy was going down. If he hadn't gone down, then Pollock Busy would have ate his crotch if he didn't attempt to bend. Didn't attempt to bend. That's funny. That's funny. Advantage at the scrum. I mean, just award them points here. You know, just award them points. You know, just award the penalty try at the halfway stage. This is... I mean, it's just boring now, to be honest. It's really, really boring to just see it every single week. And again, the fact that it's not a bunker. Let's go and check. I mean, and half break from line. A good tackle there coming from Curtly Orenser. Italy on the front foot, though. Garbizzi goes for the cross kick. There will be space out wide. Damien Willemse is there. Damien Willemse takes it brilliantly. Damien Willemse decides to put it on the boot. Finds a good kick, actually. Does very, very well there, does Damien Willemse. And the worst rugby supporter in the world, Mr. Monkey's back, saying losing to Italy when the score's 0-0. Imagine. Poor literal. I cannot fathom how that's not even a bunker. I cannot fathom it. It's great for them and scared to make decisions the entire year. That's an awful line out. And it's gone back to the hands of Zachary Portham. Come on, Zach! Warren van den Berg slowing things down once a couple of runners. Goes to Jean Klein. Once a couple of blockers, he had his Warren van den Berg. And it goes back to the hands of Italy now, but it's basically Kabayutso to attack. Kabayutso got a lot of pace. Chip over the top. Willemse, as always, is there. His positioning so far has been absolutely sublime. And he wants to try and up the ante. It's quite interesting, actually. He's looking to try and play quite quickly all the time. It must be a tactical thing. But his positioning so far has been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Where he says, with the yellow, 20 minutes red and full red, full red was supposed to be reversed for confirmed thuggery, not accidental high tackle. That was the thing. It was supposed to be for really, really clear-cut, really bad incidents. That is not one of them. And that's, I think, where my frustration is coming. You know, we talk about foul play. He's not going running in with his arm behind his, like, hoing his shoulder there. He went in there like this. Arm didn't get around to wrap. I'm still a bit debatable about the head contact. I think it's over here. To the back of the line, they'll go Italy on the 22. About says definitely more than 3 seconds. Usually eventually comes from the referee. Varney, switch of play here from Garbizzi. Long pass out wide. Vincent with a bit of space. Good tackle by Sia Khaleesi and Warren van den Berg. Down to the right-hand side. Varney goes. It's a bit of a poor tackle and under pressure. The man shares into a long pass out wide on the bounce to Leinach. Makes a good tackle. And over the ball goes Curtly Orenser. Surely you got to reward him, Mr. Ref. No. To the left-hand side. Almost a spill coming from Giuliani. Making no progress at the moment now, Italy. And a big tackle there. Knock-on advantage in the tackle. Warren van den Berg all over Leinach. So lost a bit of space here of Italy. They'll go back for the scrum. Great defense that from the box. Really, really good. Yeah, this is just Kaden Moody as he came into the tackle on Canodian. Hand knocking it on. It's a nice big tackle. Another big change. I don't like this. Here comes Wilco low. So there goes Zach Porthen. And that's just because we now just don't have the one-man advantage. So again, now this poor guy's career is being, and Franco Master looks like he's on the verge of tears. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. If we win this again, by the way, just asking about. As I said, next week we just run on to the pitch with 14. The left-hand side, go Italy. Ball at the back, the half ball, and Motiwani knocks it. Nice ball back inside. That's totally gone forward. Has gone forward. will be a box scrum. It's become very, very messy. It's also been a messy game so far. So messy. We've had to sacrifice Ben Jason Dixon early on to cope, as well as Wilco Lowe. Because obviously, from a size point of view, Zach Porthen versus Wilco Lowe is just chalk and cheese. And if you're not scrumming with a man down, you gotta add that bulk to it. Ball's come to the side. We've actually lost that, so having to scramble now. Kenny Moody breaks, chips over the top, running onto his Kapayutsu, but too much and goes to the 22. Scrum's really struggling given the fact that we're down to a man down. This is going to be a huge test for the Boks. It's going to be a long 60 minutes ahead. These are some of the contexts. And it says, side entry, final whistle said it was, let's not step into the conspiracy after this. That is clear. Andrew Vessel alert, mastered who is next. Why did they do nothing? Come off the tackle on Sia before the red. Denver says, I mean, they want a headline for this coming week. They won't get some SA wins against Italy with 14 men. Well, at the moment, it's looking a bit scratchy. But I think the longer the game goes on, the more we'll hopefully be able to cope. For me, I just couldn't understand the fact that they were just so ready to go permanent red card. What we've seen more recently is the fact that, right, we think it could be a red card, go to the bunker, see what happens, and then have a look at it. Now, all of a sudden, refs has decided it's time to start awarding the permanent red card. We haven't had one bunker call this year. We haven't had one bunker red. We haven't had one 20-minute red. We've had 3 straight reds. I don't think any other nation had a straight red from what I've seen in the last few weeks. Ball over the top and falls back to Ruan. Kier's got a bit of space. Well picked up from the lock. Warren van den Berg. Malcolm Verstappen. Nice big hit coming from him. But once again, Manuel Zuliano there quickly. And Canone goes. And Italy trying to counter-attack. And brilliantly taken by Ed van der Merwe. Pops up to Kenny Moody. Kicking behind. Has got into touch on the full. Ed van der Merwe. That was a phenomenal read. To get across and intercept that. The rush defense is looking pretty good. Manuel Zuliani, though, is causing a lot of problems. Gulza said, I was watching another channel with English commentator and they think it was red or even, they didn't think it was red or even head contact. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not convinced that there was head contact or that the first contact was on the head. I think chest first, maybe riding up to the head, but a straight permanent red for that, I think is wild chat. And there goes Bowen Fenter. I mean, I understand having to adapt here, but guys, this is nice. I mean, that's 3 subs for 25 minutes. This is bizarre. When have you ever seen that? 3 subs before the 25th minute. They go to the top. Nuonakia's there, however, and Nuonakia almost wins the line out. Gets a hand in front, but it goes over the top and for one back. Edel van der Merwe steps away from one. Does well. Pops up to Damien Willemse. Damien Willemse steps inside. Presents well. Mooi van den Berg. Goes to Hanjay Pollard. Pollard sees a bit of space. Goes for the cross kick towards Kenny Moody. Takes it well. Gets inside to Ethan Hooker. Gets the offload away. Quickly answer. Dives on it. Under a bit of pressure here. Scramble well. Mooi van den Berg. Nuonakia. Loses it forward. Come on, man. Consistency here, people. I mean, we're struggling in the scrums and we can't hold on to our ball at the moment. Come on, we need a big scrum here somehow. I don't know where we're gonna find it, but we need to find it somehow. Scrum's gone down. Ball's available for Stephen Varney. There's the penalty advantage. So congratulations, Rusty. You've changed both props and nothing's actually changed from a scrummaging point of view. Like, I understand. Yeah, we're losing the plot here, people. We're losing the plot. I mean, here comes Andre Estes, and that's 4 subs. We've emptied half our bench. For Edwin van der Merwe. Oh, come on, Rusty. What the hell are you doing? What the hell are we doing? So now you've moved Kane and Movie to the wing. By the way, Edwin van der Merwe was having a storm of a game. As Bezzy said, Moody tackled in the air. Yeah, but I mean, come on. He's not wearing a blue shirt, so... And he shanked it again as Paulo got busy. I mean, how many... As I said, does the ref just have to award a penalty try randomly? Like, just say, right, you know what, penalty try because I physically can't help you anymore. Now Ed van der Merwe has to make way. Which I don't really agree with, to be honest. I really... guys, why are we panicking? I mean, Edwin van der Merwe was having an absolute storm of a game. Now we have to... I think we're not trying to over... I'm all for being dynamic and using our bench intelligently, and I think we've just lost the plot here, to be honest. Hopefully we can get over the line, but I think we've lost the plot. All right, Stephen Varney going to go to the boots. Willem's underneath it. He's been our shining light so far, really. Gerard Stennekamp, though. Morten van den Berg goes to 100 Pollard at the back. Pollard lifts it high. Ethan Hooker, who looks like he's actually gone to the wing, and it falls off. Has it gone off him? Yeah, it'll actually be a box scrum. I mean, a box line, just short of the 10-meter line. Such a bizarre half. I mean, that's the weirdest half of rugby I've ever had to commentate. I wish I was ref in the damn bloody game. JP says, can't stand these proper changes. Thunder says, shocking referee. Gerard says, hey, Steve, I just came on to ask if it's just me or something about this ref is blowing cuck and very one-sided. Well, I can't understand how we've got a straight red for that. Kane Moody gets tackled out in the air. Not even a penalty. We don't even look at it. Yeah, it's bizarre. Denver says, why are we emptying the bench this early? Even so, with the red card, the Italian remains scoreless. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why we're panicking. You know, we knock on advantage on the line out. Typical. We were losing the scrums. We've replaced our props. We're still losing in the scrums. Now we put Andre Esterhuizen on. Ethan Hooker's gone to wing. Ethan Hooker, that's going forward of Ethan Hooker, I think. Everybody's on side here. Knock on advantage here for Italy, but they're all the way back by the end 22. Siakalisis up quickly. And they'll go back for the knock on. This has been one of the worst halves of rugby I've ever watched. Like... almost the half an hour mark. I'm a bit sort of speechless, to be honest. I don't really know what to say. It's just been a bizarre half. And still scoreless. Imagine. All this talk about respecting Italy and everything like that, even if they were, the fact that they're scoreless after half an hour, we've had to rejig our scrum. We've put on new players. We've had a red card. They've had 2 penalties. They've kicked for goals. Thankfully, Paulo got busy, did not bring his kicking boots at all. Andre Paulo in the free kick, puts it high in the air. It's going to go too far. Heath needs to get there and compete. Does compete, comes back into the hands of the box. And Gerard Steenkamp come away with it. Moore van den Berg. John Klein. Come, let's see what we can conjure up here. If we score first, I will laugh at Italy. Laugh, 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 laugh. And I love Italy. I've even got an Italian jersey, but not today, boys. Not today. Moore van den Berg goes back to Andre Pollard. To Damian Vincent. Damian Vincent's got a lot to do. He's by himself. Puts the kick in behind. Just try and find... Yeah, that's a good intelligent kick there from Damian Vincent. Kick in behind. Just finding that corner. Forcing them back to a 5-meter line out. I like it. I like it. I'm just so sad because all the players I wanted to watch have gone off. I wanted to see how Franklin Mostert went. I was really excited to see if Zachary Portman could step up, see what Bowen Fento, how he'd respond, see what Edel van der Merwe is all about, and they've all been taken off. I'm hacked. Free kick from the box. You can't take the scrum, but take a tap and go, yeah, probably. So free kick for the box. And Moore van den Berg wanted the ball so he could take it quickly. But now tap and go is about the only option we've got here. Because we can't take a scrum because they depowered our scrum, the bastards. To tap and go on Gerard Steenkamp. No, in fact, it was Grobbelaar. Now Jean Klein. Moore van den Berg. Box 5 meters out. Come on, lads. We're not here now. Moore van den Berg, Jean Klein. One of our bigger carriers today. Now Grobbelaar. Slow progress here from the box. We're not here now. Good defense so far from Italy. Moore van den Berg still down the left-hand side. Better that from Bokke for start, a bit of intent. Now Siya puts his head down. Tripped 3 players coming up to tackle. We're not here. Andre Estes getting involved in close quarters. Moore van den Berg goes to Andre Pollard. He goes for the drop goal and turns immediately. 14 men, all these changes, and we still score first. Imagine. Imagine. That is mental. Imagine. I can't. How as Italy to allow that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Are we going back now for something? Surely not. And now? So 3-0. There's a penalty against Blue, but I'm confused. How do they have... It's a good drop goal from Andre Pollard. Just calls it, and they're going all the way back. I'm confused. So I think they've chalked off the 3 and they've gone back for a penalty. Huh? What? So I think there was I actually missed the conversation. I think there was something wrong with the drop goal. We come back for a penalty right in front of the poles and taking the 3 points. This is a very, very long way of going around getting to exactly the same result. Like, what the hell is going on? And there's the 3 points. Well, we eventually get some points to the board. I didn't take us 34 minutes, but that's bizarre. So I want to go back and look at the drop goal. I think they're saying, oh, please. So they're saying that Wilco Low obstructed Ignacio Brix in the build-up to the drop goal, but we're going to go back for offside penalty. So we've got 3 points. Like, this has been a slog, boys and girls. It's been a slog of a half. Hopefully the second half's better. It can only get better, really, because this has been pretty atrocious. Now what? It's an HIA now. What the F is going on? Now there's a massive discussion happening between the Bokke management and the assistant referees about, I don't know if it's an HIA, I don't know if it's a mouth guard that's gotten involved. This is shambolic. So now they're saying there's an HIA. So Gerald Stenekamp's going to have to go off for an HIA, which means Bowen Fenn's going to come back on. The game's gone, boys. The game's gone. I mean, it's going to take us almost 50 minutes. It's going to take us more than 50 minutes to play his first half, which is really annoying given the fact that we've kind of got a England-New Zealand game coming up later to try and cover as well. So Gerald Stenekamp's going to go off for an HIA. Yeah, I can see Siaklis is losing his mind, and rightly so, rightly so. This has been an absolute disaster class of officiating. It really has. This has actually been a joke. No one would have watched this game and gone, you know what, I can really get into rugby. This is an absolute joke. We eventually managed to get back and going. The ball spoils the side of the ruck, though. So Italy will turn over ball. How quickly was David Willemse? Breaks now. Goes himself. Good tackle coming from Wilco Low. Stephen Varney to the right-hand side. Kanone. Varney. Good tackle there coming from Andre Esterhazen. To left-hand side. Nicola Kanone. John Clay makes a good tackle. Ross Vincent back on the angle. Losing momentum here, though, are Italy. It's good defenses from the box. And lost it forward. They go for the scrum. Yeah, I mean, Siakalisi's pissed off. I'm pissed off. Rassi must be pissed off. This is the worst game I've ever watched so far. We've officiated to the absolute 10th degree. Badly, might I add. And it's just completely ruining the game. So let's go back and just start. And let's just win this game, shall we? Let's win this game because I'm hacked. Like, what is going on here? We do have a full scrum because Andre Esterhazen's on. Still under a lot of pressure, though. Morning van den Berg. And penalty Italy. You see what I mean? Putting on Wilco Low has actually done nothing. Taking off Zach Paul. I mean, we just can see the scrum penalty in front of the pole. Surely this will be 3-3. But this is an absolute disaster of a game so far. We've made changes. They haven't made a difference. I think Rassie panicked too early here. I really think that we panicked. We needed to get to half time, ride the storm, and then try and bring on the impact in the second half. I think we've panicked a bit here, and now we're in trouble. Genuinely think we're in trouble. To think it, you spend the entire week wanting to get to watch a Bokke game, and then we have to watch this crap. And does Paulo Gabizzi finally find a three-pointer? He does. It only took him 3 attempts, but Italy do level the scores of 37 minutes of one of the weirdest games I've ever watched. Can we just get to half time, yeah, and just go back to beers, boys. Denver says at this plane, let's just end the game and give Italy the win. Great tackle that from Kurt Lawrence. Solid tackle there. Now, come on, just keep them inside. Let's see if we can get a little late penalty or something. Get an opportunity for us to have one last go here. So, reminder that we have made 4 subs so far, of which one has had to come back on. Italy obviously yet to make a sub, and we've had a red card. Basically, every possible thing that could have happened this half, besides a try, has happened. Come on, lads. Good line that from John Klein. Around the corner goes John Cobbler, goes short to Andre Esterhuizen. Andre Esterhuizen bursts through a couple. Good carry from him. Morning van den Berg to the left-hand side. Siklisi on the angle. Back to Morning van den Berg. John Klein. Van den Berg now. Burn Fenter. Back on the park. Nice carry from him. Morning van den Berg goes back to Hunter Pollard. He goes back to the boots. Ethan Hooker's going to have to get there in front. Ethan Hooker goes up. It is allowed to bounce. Kenan Moody gets up. Kenan Moody. And knocked forward, I think. They're having a look here. David Williamson reckons it was knocked forward initially from an Italian hand. Was it not forward there from Ethan Hooker? So not entirely sure. The final call is 30 seconds, and as I said, 30 seconds for one of the most painful halves of rugby I've ever had to handle. 8 handling errors apiece, by the way. 16 handling errors across this half. What a shit show. Genuinely, what a shit show. That's the only way I can describe this game. It's been the most bizarre 40 minutes of rugby I've ever seen. Ever. It's just... Between the red card, the subs, the HIA, we've had every single possible referee TMO incident. Free kick to the box. Come on, man. Let's make this count, boys. Free kick there on Bone Fenter's side. He wants the ball. He wants to go for the tap and go. On Bone Fenter. Go, Bone. Now Morning van den Berg pops it up, and Jean Klein takes it. And he's been full of carrying so far as Jean Klein. Ball available with Morning van den Berg looking at his options. Andre Esterhuizen in the close quarters. Mark of a start and penalty advantage. Thank you very much. We'll take... Oh, he's almost all the way. And he's got grounding. Come on. Ride us off at your will. Do whatever you want. Red cards, blue cards, pink cards. We'll find a way to score a try. We'll find a way to win. Come on. Mark Van Staan with an epic carry, about 5 odd meters in the end. And on the halftime whistle, just keeps going. Bang, goes over. Referee sees enough and awards the try. Mark Van Staan in the number 8 jersey for the first time for the Boks. Gets his try. And that will be half-time at 10-0. What a half. Bizarre half. Absolutely bizarre. We're back shortly after half-time. Please do not go away, and we'll kind of brief you a little bit on what's going on. But please do smash the like on the meantime. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll see you guys after the break.
You can't use the services of Lewd for the rest of the end of the year. It just seems it's a ban for the Springboks and South African teams. I saw someone on social media making a subtle joke on possible replacement for Lewd, which was later taken off. But in all honesty, what is your thoughts on the ban? And there seems to be a common trend for South African players getting banned, and other nations getting red card rescinded.
Yeah, well, as I said in the past of Mapimpi and Wolf van Indruk, it is what it is. It's Lewis' decision now. Will he appeal that? And I think he'll make that decision the next day or two. He's going to stay with us here and help us prepare for Ireland. Obviously, that is a big game for us, but Italy is at hand and Italy is the first game. But we would have loved to have Lewis available for the Irish Test match. It was quite ironic. That he's always missed big games out of through injury. I think once in his life, in a 20-year rugby career, he's got one off-field red card, never other yellow cards or any foul play. So we're sad for him, because he's a guy that went through a hell of a lot, not just in his personal life, but in his rugby career as well. And missing out on a big test match like Ireland next weekend, that's not great, but we have to accept that, and we won't call up anybody else. We're 33 guys in the camp currently, and we feel we've got enough locks to cover us like a World Cup squad size at 33, and that's even more games. This is a 5-week tour. So yeah, it's not nice, but we'll have to make plans.
Percy?
Zina, thank you so much for the opportunity. Goeiemiddag, meneer Rasmus. Rassie, kan ek jou vra, meneer, gewoonlik 'n joernalis soos myself, Percy Young, sal bijvoorbeeld nie verlede gesê het dat Italië baie 'n formaliteit vir die Springbokke behoort te gewees het. Kan ek jou vra vir 'n span wat al reeds 2 keer teen hulle vanjaar gespeel het, wat is julle benadering teenoor hierdie Italiaanse span, meneer? Gaan julle hierin met die denke dat dit 'n eenvoudige wedstryd is, of moet julle soos julle enige ander groot wedstryd voorberei?
Nee, Percy, ek dink enige iemand wat regtig rugby kyk en rugby bestudeer en geniet sal weet onder 'n nuwe afrigter. Ek is baie goeie vriende met hom. Hy's 'n ou wat al baie titels gewen het met partykeer average spelers in Franse ligas, en hy's 'n Argentyn. Hy verstaan die hele manier hoe die mense in hierdie kant van die wêreld dink, en hy is 'n regtig goeie tegniese afrigter. Ons almal weet die 2 toetse in Suid-Afrika, die telling was glad nie 'n weerspieëling van wat op die veld gebeur het nie. Hulle het ook nou 6-7 spelers terug. Die 2 centers is fantasties. Brexen, Menoncello, RBC is back at 10. The fullbacks back. Hulle het soveel gamebreakers. Ek dink dit is seker die sterkste Italiaanse span. Ek sal nie sê in die geskiedenis nie, maar in die laaste 2 jaar wat alle manne fiks is en almal op die regte tyd piek en goed speel. Obviously kom hulle van 'n baie goeie wen teen Australië af, en ons natuurlik in Frankryk gespeel, so albei spanne sal weer eens daai emosionele hoogtepunt moet kan nie net bereik nie, maar hou en beter speel, want ons speel hulle by die huis. En ja, vir die eerste keer in 'n lang tyd het ons in 'n span minder caps op average as die oppositie. So, en ek dink die gemiddelde ouderdom is min of meer dieselfde. So, daar's 'n paar jonger manne in die span en weg van die huis af teen Italië. Nee, ons het ons so goed voorberei as wat ons kan, want ons weet hierdie is 'n baie 50-50 game met wat ons gesien het hoe goed Italië geraak het.
Mola?
Hi, good morning, Rassi. Just a couple of quick questions. How important is going to be the breakdown considering what Italy has put on against Australia, and maybe an explanation on the choice of the front row that is maybe not so much experienced in terms of caps? Thank you.
Yeah, well, first of all, no, they are really good at the breakdown. We did not just get frustrated, but we got outplayed at the breakdown with their ability. I mean, in one game, they had 66 bites at the breakdown, just in one game. It just shows they've got a hell of a focus and they technically and know when to do it really well. So that is something that we will try and sort out, which is a tough thing to do. So that will be tough. What was the second part of the question? Sorry, what was the second part?
The front row. The front row.
The front row. Yeah, look, sometimes when you lose Ox and Mtunu Tux hasn't played rugby, and now you've lost Lord. Definitely we are saving what's his name, Thomas a little bit for the Irish Test match, because we won't have him after that match when we play Wales, because that's outside the window. We felt Buan is now on cap 7 and he's doing pretty well. Grobbies is on cap 5 or 6. He did really well when he came on, even only for 5-6 minutes. And then again, Zach has played one match for us, but on the bench there's nice security in the two props that's always played together, Gerard and Wilco. And then obviously Marco is our cover at hooker. Obviously starting in other position, but he will be our hooker cover. We've been doing that with Marco for the last 5 years. He was at the previous World Cup. He played against Tonga in the front row. So we are trying to, just like we did with Andre, make him a player that can play forwards and back line, but you slowly build it up first against Barbarians, then a tier 2 nation, and then eventually a big match like France. So I think Marco is probably in the position where we think, if he gets well through this Italy test match at hooker for a couple of minutes, there's another box tick, but it also might backfire totally on us, and then it doesn't work, we'll have to make another plan. So that's the thinking about the front rows.
Lita?
Hallo Ras, ek hoop jy kan my hoor. Net omtrent die samestelling van die span vir hierdie wedstryd. Is dit die wedstryd wat jy geteken het om ouens soos Boan, Zak nog 'n geleentheid te gee, want die span kom van 'n high af, maar dit skep nou daai ekstra druk, as ek dit so kan stel, dat hulle dit moet maintain, en dis uiteindelik wat jy wil hê, ouens wat moet perform onder daai drukkoker oomblikke.
Ja, ek dink jy is 100% reg, en ek dink ons het al ons lesse geleer aan die World Cup toe ons Frankryk gespeel het en toe presies dieselfde span teen Engeland gespeel het met 'n 5-3 split, en ons was baie pap in daai game gewees en ons het daai game uitgegrind. So na so 'n game teen Frankryk wat almal sy emosies hoog is, en dit is regtig, dit baie die ouens gevat. Ons het daai nag 1 uur by die hotel gekom, die oggend 4 uur lughawe toe, en dan vlieg jy, en ek bedoel, was regtig tyd om te slaap, en kom jy Sondag hier aan, laatmiddag, hotelkamers nog nie reg hier, en dan lê in die spankamer, en dan Sondag aan managers and coaches meeting, en 'n maandagoggend kondig jy die span aan. So jy sal sien die span wat speel, en ek dink is meer uit respek vir Italië as
Right, so half time, and not looking good, yeah, boys. Not looking good. Well, I mean, we're leading, but it's going to look like from where rugby is going. I think that's where we're really looking quite. It's worrying. It's worrying in terms of, we just saw such a poor half of rugby, but the Boks are up, and that's what we're going to focus on, because we got to try and be positive in and amongst a lot of adversity. I mean, I just think it's the most bizarre red card ever. But this is where it currently stands: 10 points to 3. Marco Verstappen with that try after the halftime hooter had actually gone up is going to be a huge part of the game. If we look at the game so far, more possession, more carries, doing more of the rugby inverted commas, in terms of more carry stuff like that. But Italy definitely looked more dangerous, despite the fact that we've actually obviously got the points. One try at the moment, and if we look at the defensive point of view, defensively we've been very good. We've obviously defended with 14 men for. When was that? When was the official red card? Yeah, it was 11 minutes. We've been defending with 14 men for 11 minutes, and yet we're coping. But for me, look at those subs. 40-minute Ruan Okia comes on and replaces Ben Jason Dixon. 5 minutes later, Vilko replaces Zachary Porthen. 5 minutes later, Gerard Sennekamp replaces Bowen Fenn. 2 minutes later, Andre Estes replaces Edel van der Merwe. So we've got a completely different look team to, first of all, what we obviously started with, but probably also what we wanted to finish with. Edel van der Merwe was not supposed to come off today. That was definitely not supposed to be a substitution. And I feel for it because he was playing so well. He had fantastic intercept. He covered very nicely. When we get to the player ratings later, I'm going to give him a 7, despite the fact that he got hooked, because it was just not his fault. We just needed to find a different type of player. I'm personally not a massive fan of the way we've actually deployed our bench. I don't think it's really brought much impact. I think it's also going to reduce the impact our bench might have had a bit later. But at the moment we're coping, and I think that's probably the main thing. Long may we can continue to cope, because if we get a result after that kind of incident and having to deal with all of this, that tells you about the state of things. Yeah, at the moment, discipline at the moment. More penalties to see. Obviously, a second red card. The fact that was a straight red card blows my mind. What was the point of introducing the bunker? Why we moved away from that? Why are no other teams around the world getting straight red cards? Why is it only us? We've had 3 straight red cards this year. I mean, today's one was absolutely a joke, but not the point. The fact is, we still didn't go to the bunker. Who looked at it? Referees all of a sudden wanted to make themselves the center of the game and try to find a reason to award a straight red card, try and make a point. And Rusty's going to lose his shit on Twitter. He really is. But our lineouts have been all right. Lost a couple, not phenomenal. Scrums have been worrying, if you're honest. When was the last time we saw a 50% scrum success rate? And that's because we've obviously had to change scrums all the time. I don't think we've had more than 2 scrums with the same 8 people. We lost Franco Mostert. Andre Estes is not even doing a job. And you got to feel for the likes of Zach Porth and Edel van der Merwe, Ben Jason Dixon, who've been waiting so long to get opportunities. And then due to a really bad red card decision, having to try and cope with that. So it's a bit of a disaster, to be honest. Stall says ref is okay for the most part. I think he just needs to ping the Italians more for offside, especially in 922. Maybe also for tackling Kane and Moody in the air just before he gave them a penalty for 3 points. Thankfully, Paulo Go Busy just hasn't kicked well at all. Owen Williams says Rusty sent just 14 players on next week. Ivan says I've got enough adversity in my life. I don't need it on my TV, right? Gary says South Africa still has Archias, Neyman, Ruan Okia, Jean-Claude, and Eben, so not worried at all for the Locks to play against Ireland. While we were supposed to be bringing up a prop and a hooker tomorrow, I reckon there'll be an SOS shout for another lock, because we're going to lose Jean-Claude and Archia to their clubs for Wales, which will leave us with just Eben and Ruan Okia. So I think at the very least, we'll look at bringing in probably Sam Murat, would be my guess. We'll probably fly out tomorrow, although we can't even move from 5 lock and number 4 lock. But yeah, we're going to have to bring locks. Unless we do, we'll definitely, I think, potentially challenge Franco Moster's red card. We have to. Whereas it says, so it's coincidence about the straight red card and both TMO and foul play review officer being French for this match. So here says, Steve, I just spoke to TMO, unfortunately getting a permanent red for that dangerous stash. Yeah, so that's literally so... It was a bit of a dare from a couple of the mates to see if I could do it, and I said, well, we'll rock it for a day. And maybe if we're going to get a few super chats, we keep it for a week. I'm not convinced it's going to get there. But yeah, if we do get 15 super chats, I'll hold on to it for another week. So you guys can decide whether we're doing it, whether I continue looking absolutely ridiculous, or if it goes. To be fair, it'll only get better. A bit of a fire break, and you got to try and sort out. But it's early days, in fairness. It's November, yeah, so these things don't literally grow overnight. But let's move into the data screen, because the teams are back for the second half. 3 points to 10. We'll be playing right to left now in the second half, and hopefully we can really up our game and get a result. April Records, run them off their feet. Lash says, box number 9 needs to up his work, especially in the match where one man down at 9 needs to make it easier on Pollard like last week. Well, to find up the work, because we don't want to actually really play a fast-speed game at the moment. It's wet. We've got 14 men. We have to navigate at the moment. We have to game manage. We don't want to be upping the ante just yet. Steven says, yes, it'd be great to see what happens when the other players come on, to see what happens. If great for us to then worrying for some of the players getting snubbed. Subs means they can't step up. And Adam says, what is the commotion with the HIA for Grobelaar? It was actually Gerard Stenenkamp who apparently had... Edel van der Merwe is back on. What? What? Who's he on for? There's another HIA. I'm very confused. Edel van der Merwe is back on the park. Gotta try and work out for who. Ethan Hooker's on. Kane Moody's on. There must be an HIA. Andre Esterhuizen's on. Kurtley Arendsen's off. So that must be an injury then. Or injury inverted commas maybe. Well, that's very interesting. So Edel van der Merwe is back on the park, which I'm glad because he's having a good game. But I want to find out exactly what's happened to Kurtley Arendsen. Why is it now showing yellow on our... timer? The scoreboard is confused as well. So Edel van der Merwe on for Kurtley Arendsen. We assume that's an injury. Try and find out exactly what's going on there. They go to the boot though, lost forward off of Kane and Moody. I just can't keep up with what the hell's going on in this game. And it is going to be a knock. I'll go to a scrum. So it looks like Kurtley Arendsen has got an injury and Edel van der Merwe is back on the park for him. It looks like... nice big carry there coming from Markham and Staden. I don't think Gerard Stenenkamp's back on the park yet. I think it's still Bone Fenter. Got to try and keep up with what the hell's going on here. I mean, I've never seen so many subs, ever, in my life. This is bizarre. Overclaim said, for the next match, they need to announce the officials with all the stats. No need to mention the supporting cast, the players from both teams. That's who the public want to see, the officials. Yeah. So Bone Fenter... No, Gerard Stenenkamp is back on. So Bone Fenter served as HIA. I'm a bit confused as to how Edel van der Merwe is allowed back on. I thought then had to bring on Kant Williams, Molly Leibach, or Kwagga Smith. So I'm very confused as to what's going on here. Now the referee is having a look at maybe tackle on Mokum Staden. Send him off! Send him off! I tell you what, this is really challenging my laws of the game. My understanding was once a player was going off, you can only come back on with injury, but I thought you could only come back on if you've made all the other subs. So I need to have a check on that because obviously I'm very wrong. Free kick for the Boks. I'm not sure for what for on the other side. Pollard got busy in the air. David Williams has called it for it. And he's lost it, but lost it backwards. Kenan Moody's there. No, lost it forward. There's no way he's lost it forward. Penalty in front of the poles. Ref. Ref. Right, Pollard got busy. We'll definitely take the points here. One thing Italy do is take points all the time. I think 3 points, yeah. And, yeah, I mean, again, we're kind of did dicey tackle on Markham and Staden. Nothing's going to happen there. There's no penalty, of course. Pollard got busy. Somehow managed to not miss this one like he's missed 2 so far today. So they go to 6 points to 10. You do kind of just feel that we are playing against possibly everything that could go wrong is currently going wrong at the moment. I mean, we're still in the lead. A long may that continue. But this is going to be... If we win this game, hand us the World Cup now. Because I don't think I've ever seen a team have to deal with so much adversity. Siakhalisi, right, so yeah, so that's confirmation that Steenkamp is on and Bowenfen is back off. Left-hand side, Pollard goes. Edel van der Merwe up there nice and quickly. Makes a good tackle on Lorenzo Canone. One of my favourite players. Nice tackle that John Klein meeting Vachetti behind the advantage line. Good work that from him. And lock backwards from Tamalanek, back to Brest, but then the ball comes loose. Morning van den Berg all over him. Good defense in the box, keeping Italy back inside their own 22. Nice pressure. Stephen Varney goes to the boot. And will find touch. So Boks will have a line out on the Timmy line. Oh, guess name I'm being ready to come on. That'll be Jean Klein that'll come off. He's actually played a pretty good game. Unless you take off Siakhalisi, for example, you could put Rion Nakia on the flank as well. I don't think we would, but that would be one of the options you could have. You could take Marco Verstappen off. You could put Siakhalisi at 8. If you wanted to have, Rion Nakia and thing. But my guess would be that Archie will come on for Jean Klein. Yeah, but it is Siakhalisi's made way. I wondered about it if we might see it. So Sia's made way. Good. This whole spider cam angle is driving at the wall. Pollard goes to the boot. That's too far. Okay, the move's going to have to really work hard to get there. And he's as they change lane. Free kick. No, we won't have a look there. I mean, Caden Moody reckons he's definitely been blocked. We're not going to have a look, though, because he was blocked by a blue player, not by a Springbok. I'm getting salty, but I am salty, in fairness. This is bizarre. Anthony made a very good point in saying that it's basically like an NFL game with people just coming on and off the entire time. It literally is. And maybe I cursed it because I actually said beforehand that that's the big difference, that you don't have, defense coming on and then offense coming on. And then we've literally just had more subs than ever before in a rugby game. So it's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Abel Smith says, force Italy to have to handle the wet ball as much as possible on their half and force errors with constant pressure, perhaps. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how Molly Liebach goes about his business and this. It's going to be a big test for him. Andre stays and puts his head down. Makes good ground. Tackle is the call. Morning van den Berg goes to the boot. Ethan Hooker will be there. And it comes loose towards Pollard, got busy. It'll find him over there. Morning van den Berg makes a good tackle as well. Morning van den Berg putting pressure on there. And the ball ends up into the arms of Andre Pollard. And now saying offside against the box. This is just getting a little bit ludicrous, isn't it? Saying he's offside going for the chase down with Morning van den Berg. Right, so this is a poll from earlier. So I'm going to ask, will the Springboks still win with 14 men? Will the Boks win with 14 men? Question mark. Simple yes or no. People go answer in the poll. Lanek after it. Damon Willemse underneath it. Locks it back. I mean, Lanek's not trying to catch it once. All he does is go up there and try to slap it back. But Italy have got the ball. To the right hand side goes Lanek. Now chip it back behind. Damon Willemse is there to cover. Stands up well as Damon Willemse. But there's about half a flipping Italian nation on him and bundles him out. There's a clever kick in behind from Lanek. A lot of pressure here on the box. Actually doesn't knock. All he does is interfere with Damon Willemse. Come, big defense now on the 5-meter line. Arcus Neyman is onto the park, as mentioned, so it'll be interesting to see if we actually look to compete here. But we are going to have a break in play because there is an injury for Italy. Now Linus getting some magic spray on him. I don't think I've ever seen so much airtime given to a referee. I've spent more time watching a referee so far this game than I have anything else. I don't know if we're going back to look at something now or watch the chat. This is ridiculous. Honestly ridiculous. There comes Federico Raza. Looks like that's Simone Ferrari as well being readied. What are we looking at now? Now we've got another TMO check. What the hell is going on? This is getting ridiculous. Honestly, this is an absolute disaster. And he's going to go for a HRA as Marco Riccioni. But this has been, I mean, we're at 4 o'clock. It should be an hour and 20 since kickoff, and we've only played 48 minutes. We have to have a serious check-in as to where the state of this game is, because it is absolutely in trouble. Right, back to the game, eventually. And on the 5-meter line, the Boks are defending. Big nut take. Of course, to the left side goes Manuel Giuliani. Oh, it was a half break. And actually, the ball's come away. And 100 Pollard's come away with the ball. Knock on advantage for the Boks. Moine van den Berg goes down to Krobbelar. Taking his time. Moine van den Berg needs to find a good clearance. Not his best kick for Moine van den Berg, but he finds touch. That's the main thing. Does find touch. Just past 22. Hanging on, the Boks. Hanging on. Can't ask for much more than that at the moment. Yeah, it's Manchella overrunning it slightly. Come, let's actually compete at large here, people. We do compete, but unsuccessfully. Right, got busy. Chips in behind. And as per usual, Damien Willemse gets there. Steps away from Stephen Varney. Support does arrive. Willemse has been positioned phenomenally today. Goodness me, he's been good. Andre Pollard, not a very big in-goal area. Bit of a snap hook. Does find touch and a bit of pressure here. Boks under serious pressure here from Italy. Having to really ride the storm. There goes Jean Klein. Quacker Smith on there, so restore a bit of balance. Roanoke will go back to lock with Arceus Neyman. Quacker Smith will go to the side of the scrum. Looking for the rolling more. Coming through, eventually just stop. Yeah, does the rolling more. Referee calls once. Now it goes to the breakaway to the side. Penalty advantage for Italy. They're 10 meters out. Right, the left-hand side is Stephen Varney. Penalty advantage. Goes short to great covering tackle. Coming from Andre Pollard. Another penalty advantage, though. And right in front of the poles, that'll be 10 points to 9. Yeah. No way, it's a yellow card. Are you actually cooked? So apparently, cynical from Bokke for starting, and we're down to 13. As I said, just call the game at this stage. Call the game. (15-13). I mean, you can't script it, and they're going to take the 3 points. They're still not going to be in the lead, by the way. Still not in the lead. Another 3 on the ball coming, and the box now 1 point thing. No, it's not a bunker check, people. It's not a red card check. The broadcasters have also lost the plot. Well, this is a game to win. You win this game, cheapers. Having a look at the instant chat. So the tackle is there. Loses his feet as Marco van Staden. Right, deep behind, Edel van der Merwe will give chase. Nice tackle coming from Edel van der Merwe. Right, 15-13 for the next 10 minutes. This is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Right, Damien Willemse underneath it. Steps away from Tom Leinach. Still going as Damien Willemse. Still going as Damien Willemse. Half tackle on him. Wilco low, quick ball to Andre Pollard. Long pass out wide towards Andre Estes and comes back towards a bit of support. Mid hard in the tackle, but ball is available. Morne van den Berg. Goes to Ruan Nokia. Penalty advantage for offside. Morne van den Berg looking goes short to Andre Pollard. He loses it forward. Second time he's lost it forward in contact, Andre Pollard. Right, take the 3. Thank you very much. We'll extend our lead to 4 points. Damien Willemse, by the way, has been terrific. Absolutely terrific. Having a conversation with Dwayne Familiar, he's been phenomenal. We actually watched a little bit of all-timer in terms of under all the pressure. He's bailed us out. His position has been great. He's been phenomenal with the ball in hand. That is a broken arm. That is gone. Does not look good at all. Andre Pollard. Straight down the middle, turns immediately, has the distance, and the box will add 3 and keep a 4-point advantage we had a few minutes ago. Down to 13 men and still firing, boys. Imagine we win this game. I mean, that'll just be absolutely bizarre. Kwagga Smith now, getting into the action. Come, Kwagga. Ball available for Morne van den Berg. Goes to the boot. Edel van der Merwe will give chase. The old Lions duo linking up, and good tackle that came from Arcus name. He hammers Kapayotso. We haven't seen much of today, thank goodness. Touch wood. I don't want to see him, because jeepers, when that guy gets going. Yeah, on his feet, Kwagga Smith gets his first breakdown of the day. Lovely work there, Kwagga. Morne van den Berg got a bit of pressure, gets away to Pollard. Swings it out to Damien Willemse. Damien Willemse sees a bit of space. Goes low with his kick. Pops up just by Pollard got busy. He'll return the favor. Goes to that left boot. Willemse underneath it. Takes it. Steps away from one. As he always does. I mean, he must be at least about 8 defenders beaten. Morne van den Berg goes to the boot. Ethan Hooker's going to give chase. No, they did it to bounce, does Montiwani. Interesting decision that from him. Good kick that from Moine van den Berg. I think swirling in the air was the result of that not being attempted. Oh, no, we have another TMO check. Potential foul play. What are we looking at now? Thank you. This should be a card, surely, for Italy. Yeah. Upright. Never. No attempt to wrap. Red card. Ban him for life. Ban him for life. Surely it's got to be a red. Come on, Mr. Ref. Consistency. 8 blue is always upright. There's head-to-head contact. You know, surely this is red card. This is a lifetime ban. It has to be a lifetime ban. He's upright. His head contact. Given that Franco Masters is currently with a permanent red card, this has to be a permanent red card. You got to be consistent here, Mr. Ref. You have to be. This is a red card, 12-week ban, yellow card. The consistency, boys and girls. The consistency. It's what we want. It's what we want. That is so funny. They looked at it 3 times and said, cool, yellow card. Franco Masters, they scrutinized for 10 minutes and then said, cool, permanent red card. It's gotten to the stage of being a joke. It really has. I just don't know what to say. I really don't. Deary me. You know, you don't want to sit there and say there's conspiracy theories, etc., but you then see something like that and you go, so what was the difference? Apart from the fact that was clear head contact. Lovely. Lovely. There was no wrap. Clear head contact. He's upright. Yeah. But you know what? We're 4 points ahead. Hashtag, let us cook. Let us cook. Arcus Neyman, good take from him. Pops up to Moine van den Berg. Flat to Gerard Stennekamp. Runs over. I think that's Ferrari's come on in there. Right, ball at the top for Moine van den Berg. Edel van der Merwe will give chase up against Leinach. Comes and goes back to the hands of Ruan Nokia. Moine van den Berg to the left-hand side. Kane Moody. Quick ball to Jamie Willemse. Out to Andre Estes. Andre Estes gets his way to Jan Robelaar. Into the 22 we go. Remember, it's 14 on 13 at the moment. Moine van den Berg to Arcus Neyman. Arcus Neyman carries it in. Flat to Andre Esterhazen. Bounce off one. Still going. On the front foot chair of the box. Kane Moody comes back at the angle. Kane Moody almost 2 meters out chair of the box. Pick up and go. On Kwaka Smith. Ball available there. Moine van den Berg wants to pick up and go. On Andre Esterhazen. Penalty advantage out for the box as well. On the front foot chair. Come on, the lads. Counter comes, and there's the penalty. I tell you what, we'll take another 3 points. While we're back down to another man advantage. So at the moment, it is still a man advantage, despite the fact that Italy have got a yellow. It is a bunker check. I can tell you right now, it won't be a red. I'll bet my house on it. I don't have, which is easy to bet on. Vince says, drink a door. Yeah, I tell you, don't tempt me. You need to get some beers for that England-New Zealand game. This has been stressful. Very stressful. Oh, cheapers. And we're going to get another TMO. Yeah, have a word, Kwaka. Have a word. I think he's basically saying that there was no attempt to wrap. Yeah, but you've now opened the can of worms, Mr. F. So now you gotta live with it. If you're gonna give these cards like this, then you gotta live with it. So Gerard Stennekamp This is definitely not what we're looking at here. Is that what you're cheap as me? You are absolutely reaching. Now they're trying to get Wilco low sent off. This is, now you are really looking for something. I mean, now we're searching, boys. Now we are searching for reasons to send Bokke players off. Kwagga Smith's our captain, by the way. That's just made my day. Kom, Kwagga. Yeah, I mean, nice try, TMO, you prick. I mean, absolutely nothing there whatsoever, despite the referee, the TMO trying his absolute best. It's funny. The fact that Kwagga Smith is our captain, but I mean, I don't know. Can I go add a C next to him? I might just have to do it just because, you know, he's my boy. Kwagga Smith currently captaining the Boks, a 13-man Boks with a lead. And a 13-man Boks are taking the scrum, by the way, from the looks of it. You are taking the scrum. I mean, you've got Ethan Hooker at on the left flank. You've got Andre Estes on the right flank. Imagine we had a penalty try here. Imagine we just put them over the line. Oh, we do have scrum and dominance. Oh, go. Morning van den Berg to the right side. Morning van den Berg to the half gap. Morning van den Berg. Scores! Come on, the lads. I mean, keep throwing it at us. Keep throwing it at us. Throw whatever you want at us. Throw it all at us. Throw another red card at us. Morning van den Berg picks it up and says, I'm backing myself here. Runs towards contact. The smallest man on the field. And by the way, that's his 4th international try in 5 caps. Bang. Runs into Menoncello and Montiawani in the bin, boys. In the bin. I mean, he bounces Montiawani. Menoncello can't stop him. That is brilliant. Morning van den Berg, you rock my world with the confidence to just say, bang, I'm going to... He had David Willemse over, by the way, which he could have gone at. And he just said, nah, I don't need David Willemse, boys. Down to 30 men. The Boks go 20 points to 9 up. Well, the poll we asked was, will the Boks win with 14 men? 90% reckons yes, and so far, so good. Look, it's a long time still to play. Got 20 minutes left, 5 minutes left on the Italy yellow, which means surely they must do a decision on it. I mean, it'll remain a yellow, we know that. Markov and Staden will be able to come to make it 14 on 14. Absolute shit show of a game. But, and there's our captain, Kwagga Smith, on the ball. I think that's my moment of the game. Goes to the boot. Edel van der Merwe will give chase. Edel van der Merwe takes it brilliantly. He gets to off it away as well to you. Andres, the ball back inside. And they've left it behind. Where's the ball? No, now it's Stephen Varney, the knock-on advantage. That could have been a counter-attack try, to be honest. Yep, and the yellow card's going to remain a yellow. Phenomenal. Imagine. Chip over the top. And once again, Damian Willemse is there. Takes it brilliant out the air. Gets bound line to touch, but he's been every single time they've gone to the boot. Such a good take from Edel van der Merwe. Penalty advantage now for Italy. Long pass wide. Kubitso steps back inside. Brought down by Edel van der Merwe. another penalty there. Bokke Verstaan's just been penalty. You just got to get a card for being off your feature. Right, so at the moment it is 14 on 14. It's a great kick from Bola by Izzy, by the way. Still 2 subs left on the Bokke bench at the moment. No Grant Williams as of yet. No Marnie Liebach. I'll be interested to see. They might actually put Grant Williams on the wing, to be honest. Good line that from Italy. Trying to go down the right-hand side. Looking to use it. Stephen Varney will use it. Go himself. Almost breaks through. There's Ignacio breaks. Tackle made by Andre Pollard. There's a lot of space on the left-hand side. They're springing towards the right-hand side. I think there's a massive overlap on the left unless I'm not seeing something, but it looks like there was. Ferrari gets involved. No, he decides he's actually just going to join the ruck. Menoncello now. Varney to the right-hand side. Bokke defense. Inside ball to Kobayatsu. Clears the Springbok defense apart. I said as soon as he gets a bit of space, he makes a count, and he does, and Italy are back in the game, man. It's a great angle being run by him, and that's what that's the threat he does present. Yeah, I might have preempted that by saying we hadn't seen much of him. And when we do, that's already too much of him. Well, Italy finally have their first try of the match. Game firmly back on. And they're going to have a numbers advantage very soon as well because Italy don't get red cards. Only Bokke players do. God, Bissy's missed it again. My man, where have you been practicing your kicking? He has been awful with the boot today. Really, really bad. That's a great angle back down the right-hand side. Kupiotso slices through that defense. Right, 14 points to 20. 15 minutes to go. Lots on the line here, people. Lots on the line. Another good kick-off right up against it. Has been sat down by Zuliani as actually Krobola. Right, Varney is off for Paige Rito. That doesn't make much sense. And Estomasa Allen came on. We'll have to check that now. There are two. And Grant Williams on for Morne Vandenberg. No Marnie Liebach just yet. Films once again underneath it. Ball comes loose. And Darzo does Andre Pollard. Oh, it's a 50-50. Jeep as well. Quagga Smith comes away with it. That could have been absolutely shambolic from Andre Pollard. Could have almost given them gifted them a try. Willems to go to the boot. Ethan Hooker will give chase. Kenny Moody standing around, as was Andre Esterhuizen. Ball comes loose back to Kenny Moody. Kenny Moody gets the way to Andre Esterhuizen, a bit of space. He's got Grant Williams with him as well. Grant Williams, ball back inside. Oh, he's nipped it behind. Oh, it would have been a try. Could have been a try. Turnover ball inside the 22. Goes low and will find touch, but towards the halfway line. Oh, that was a big moment in the game. A huge moment in the game. That could have been a huge moment. Ball back inside. Grant Williams. It's here. You've got to be taking it. You have to be taking it. And he takes that with his pace. He probably goes over. Right, so back to the man advantage here. And there he is, boys. Bokke's on. Cook something up for me, Marty. Cook something up for me. I think he's on. Sure, I saw him. Yeah, it is on. And it looks like he's on for Pollard. We'll give the Rolly more here of the box as the ball lands back towards Jan Krobelaar. Right, so that's our full bench on. Simone Ferrari's getting to know somebody on the side. I think it's Marco Verstappen. In fact, Vilko low. Grant Williams. Back to Marty Bokke. He goes to the boot. Ethan Hooker will give chase. And Tommaso Allen takes it very well, actually, out the air, in fairness. So Marty Bokke to steer the last 12 minutes, as he's been doing for the last few games. This is a very different situation, though. Man down. How well can he manage this game? Can he spark something as well? Good kick there coming from Page Reload. Williams underneath it. Takes it very well, as he's done all... man of the match right there, by the way. It's an easy decision here. Grant Williams goes to Arke Snyman, who loses the ball forward. Ball comes loose. Backwards is the referee. Marty Bokke goes short to Willemse. Willemse, not many options there. Just kicks it over, but gets too much on it. This is his first real mistake of the game. And reckon player, Jan Krobelaar just tying his boot. Come on, lads. Come on, lads. If we get through this, it'll be one of the best games I've, in terms of adversity, the likes of that try to win I've watched. Bit of a cut on Arke Snyman. They get a bit of a break and play while they sort that out. Right, so, I mean, trying to work out, where do we go from here? You know, what does this kind of game do for us in terms of, I mean, obviously, if we go and win, for example, that's a massive confidence booster. You know, that's a bit of a big middle finger to the officials, but it also just shows you that we can really compete and we can ride any sort of adversity and manage to get through it, which is a big checkbox. But it's just so frustrating because we won't really have progressed, really. We won't have had, this wouldn't have been a big opportunity for us to grow as a team. And that's the frustrating part. We're trying to build something here, and it just keeps getting put on flipping pause all the time. Hands on the ball, and the referee awards the penalty. Thank you very much. Slow things down, Monty. Slow things down. I can see the celebration coming there. It was a big moment in the game. And they've kept it in of Italy. Capaiuzzo sends it downfield. Bokke will go back to fetch. Now puts it to the boot. Damon Willemse will give chase. Damon Willemse trying to get through a lot of traffic. And it's allowed to bounce by Tommaso Allen. And it's going to go out for a Bokke line out. We'll take that. We'll take that. You can't keep Willemse out of the game at the moment. So, line out just outside the 22 is the net result. 10 minutes left on the clock. Oh, is it actually Italy line? This might actually be this might be changed. No, take it quickly. Quickly, take it. And ball over the top. It's dreadful line there from Jan Krobelaar. Knock on advantage. That's so frustrating. We can't be doing that now. Just gifting them the ball back. Now we're back on the defense here. Right, ball available for Pedro. Puts it to the boot. Williams is there. He's got Monty Liebok outside him. Goes to Monty Liebok. Long pass out wide to Andre Estes. A bit of space. To Edville van der Merwe. Cook Edville. Long pass out wide to Caden Moody. Caden Moody goes on the outside. Goes through Linux. Comes back inside. It's Caden Moody. Ball back inside. And it goes Grant Williams. Come on, boys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, match officials. The scrum off double. Grant Williams saying, anything you can do, I can do better than Warner van der Berg. He gets his try. The Boks will wrap up the game, surely with 40 points, 25. Kick to come. Caden Moody showed line at the outside. Now they're having a look to see if it's a forward pass. I think it's fine. Absolutely no issue. And then he's got the pace as Grant Williams. Monty Liebok just riding down the clock, takes his 2 steps, pops it over, says, thank you very much. Come on, the lad. This is absolutely epic. We go win this game. Goodness me, what a result this would be. I mean, Tom, that is a Louis Liner. That's an awful. To be beaten like that. He literally just shows him the goosey out, goes around him. Awful defense. Brilliant from Caden Moody. But, yeah, come on, boys. Let's wrap this up, shall we? 14 points, 27, 7 minutes to go. Maybe Monty Liebok's got something special for us. Maybe he's like, just you wait. We've got more tries in us here, lads. And we get a penalty. Yeah, that's broken the back, I think, of the game. Monty Liebok this time makes no mistake. Maybe got a little bit greedy in the last one. It was well kept in, but this time it says no. The player of the match contenders are Canones, Juliane, Van Staden, and Willemse. It has to be Willemse. There's only one contender, and that is Damian Willemse. Right, kick over top there, and Caden Moody will give chase. Caden Moody takes it brilliantly out the air. Ball available. Grant Williams to left-hand side of Arkes and pops it short to Gerard Steneker. Willemse wants it. Ball over the top to Monty Liebok. Ball back inside to Edville van der Merwe. The cameraman's been taken out. Grant Williams back inside. Pops it to Damian Willemse. Goes short to Andre Estes and ball up the top. Passed on by Monty Liebok into the hands of Allen. Just 50-50 passes there, guys. Absolutely no need for that. Just grind this down, boys. Just grind this down. There's no need to complicate this. Ball over the top on the bounce towards line. Edville van der Merwe will get there. And it comes off the boots of Andre Estes and falls back into an Italian hand. It's the replacement. He's just come on, actually, David Urias there. And a knock-on advantage for Italy, and we'll go back for the scrum. Yeah, literally, RIP cameraman, because he got absolutely decimated, the poor guy. Well, it comes down to this now for Italy. We've got less than 5 minutes on the clock. We've got to try and do something with the back of the scrum. I cannot believe we've won this game. That is absolutely mental. Reminder, after this, we're going to go straight into our player rating show. And after that, we will go into the New Zealand versus England game. The cameraman was on the field. He was on the touchline, but Monty Liebok was up against the touchline and was tackled out and then into the poor cameraman. I'm surprised there wasn't a TMO review actually on the cameraman tackle there. Surely you gotta get involved there. And turnover ball, tip over the top from Caden Moody. Can't quite regather. Cheapers me. Quacker Smith has just hammered him back. And that's going to be a 5-meter scrum. That's epic. Oh, you're rocking my world, Jack Quacker. You're rocking my world. Probably the smallest man in the field. Just line him up. Hammered him back behind the game. And now it's going to be a 5-meter scrum. Could be a very interesting player rating show. We should rate the TMO. Come on, boys. Monty Bokke behind the scrum. Damien Willemse, Andre Esterhuizen, Ethan Hooker. Unless Ethan Hooker's actually got joined. Well, I was about to say Andre Esterhuizen's joined the scrum. Could have had Ethan Hooker there. He was actually backing down. Maybe the next our next project player for the hybrid player. Free kick. Quickly taken from Grant Williams. Pops it up short to Quacker Smith. Wilco low now. 5 meters out. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Penalty advantage. Grant Williams goes short to Marco van Staden. Let Monty cook, Grant. Let Monty cook. Well, he's actually caught in the ball as Monty was coming around to cook. Chef Monty was ready to receive. Penalty. And Quacker Smith wants to say quickly. Referee says no, just calm things down a little bit. I mean, you take the penalty here, we'd win the game. You'd guarantee the win. But we want more. And that's what I love about this team at the moment. Come on, big shove. We want that penalty advantage. Quacker Smith digging for it. Quacker Smith breaks off. Quacker Smith goes back on the angle. Now Grant Williams. Liebach. Cross kick. Of course to Ethan Hooker. And over he goes. Chef Marnie, boys. Ethan Hooker on the ball. What a performance. That is absolute. This is the best team in the world by a country mile at the moment. How are they doing it? They can't keep getting away with this. This is going to be a 20-point win, and we've been down a man for 70 minutes. 70 minutes, boys and girls. This is... And I mean, the cross kick, as per usual. You can't keep him out the game, old Marty. You can't. You can't. Like, literally makes a mistake, doesn't find touch, makes up it almost immediately with a good up and under, then gets the opportunity, cross kick, in you go, Ethan Hooker. Yeah, Liebach's saying there was still time on the clock. He can't believe it. The shot clock expired. I think the clock on the screen wasn't what the referee had said. So after all, that doesn't even get to try and convert that. But who cares? Who cares? An 18-point victory in the mud, Italy. In the mud. I don't know what. I don't want to be like anti-Italian now. It's not their fault that the officials are a bunch of palookas. But what a result that is. 30 points to 14. Right, people, will see you very shortly on the player ratings. Please do smash like on the video on the way out. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you guys very, very shortly over there.